Everyone, welcome to the DT podcast, episode I believe 26. It has been a painful 2 week hiatus since we've done our last episode, huh?
Oh yeah, I said hiatus.
Yeah. What did I say? Did I pronounce it wrong?
No, I was just saying it at the same time as you did for dramatic effect.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I actually thought you had said high anus, and I was like, I thought you were just doing some kind of like, I don't know, some.
Does that sound like the type of lowbrow humor that I would resort to?
I mean, dude, anus is pretty funny. I mean, I like it. So
okay, well,
if you get like a thick Angus burger, you just say, hey, can I get the thick anus burger to your waiter?
No, I've never done that before.
Well, don't do it. As someone who was a waiter, I mean, but as someone who was a waiter for 8 years, what's really painful was when customers try to make a joke at you
that you've heard 7 trillion times so
or
far.
just a shitty like dad pun. You have to like, what do I do? Do I cave in and pretend it was funny, or do I give them like a pity laugh? Do I just die inside? I'm trying to get tipped here, but it's like, what do I do? I guess it's a net positive because they're trying to they're trying to comfort me, and I'm the one serving them. So you take that and do what you can with it there. But
okay.
anyways though, yeah. Anyways, y'all. Episode 26. Hiatus is over now. We're back. We're doing our thing. I want to be transparent here. It was completely my fault 2 weeks ago. I had a bunch of shit going on, family wise, that all happened to fall on the exact time of DT podcast.
Yeah,
and then the previous week it was actually the same thing. And it was almost the same thing again today. It's actually been really, really bad luck. It's all things are happening on these Wednesdays, it seems to be, which I can get to a little later on here. But I'm happy to be back though, man. I'm happy to be back. I missed you. I missed being back on routine. And I got some things I want to talk about today, man.
What do you?
Well, due to the fact that it's been 3 weeks now, I there's so much like political and new shit we didn't cover that I imagine most of it was pretty topical and it's probably out of bounds now for being like a hot thing to get into. What I want to talk to you. Yeah. What I want to talk to you about is mental health as far as YouTube, Twitch, and live streaming goes. So now that I've now that I had a viral point with Mario Maker, I had some pretty potent view counts and some things like that. Things are kind of like slowing down a little bit for me, a little bit more now. Mario Maker's not as viral because it's been a month afterwards. So I'm trying to work on retaining what I had rather than continuing to grow and grow and grow. I've seen a lot of so I was pretty visible with like the I've never had a YouTube audience before. Like my YouTube, even though it had when I started before Mario Maker came out, I had like 43,000 subscribers, but now I'm at 110. I blew up to that in 1 month, which is kind of insane. I've never had a YouTube audience to maintain, entertain, and like understand before. And it's like I'm wondering here, as a starting point, this bigger picture of asking you like how you deal with this whole thing. There are so many points of feedback as a Twitch broadcaster specifically. But it's also the same thing for a YouTuber and any other kind of content creator, right? How do you deal with all the feedback here? You got DGGers, telling you what they want and what they, telling you what they want and everything else here. Your most passionate fan base. You have the YouTube comments, probably, always shitting on you for any XYZ points of your videos. You got the Twitch chat, wanting more streams, less Minecraft, less League, more debates, and fuck your mental health and just do more. Just stream 24 hours and never sleep. You got your EU audience mad you're awake late. You got your NA audience mad that you don't stay up late. How do you balance it all? Like, how do you do that?
There are two fundamental truths I think of people in general, and I don't adhere to one of these, which saves me from all of these problems. But the first one is that people tend to the view that you have of yourself largely comes from how people around you view you. That we tend to like seek affirmation and love and warmth and all that from other people, and that's usually how we view ourselves. It's a reflection of how the people around us view us. And then the second thing is we tend to want to have like a good view of ourselves by default. So when we read good comments about us, they don't mean as much, but when we read bad comments about us, they stand out a lot more. So if you read 50 comments and one of them is really bad and 49 of them are pretty supportive, the one bad one will stand out more. So if these two things are true, as you scale up the amount of interaction you get from strangers, like as you scale that up, you're always setting yourself up for disaster, just because the absolute number of bad comments, like the total number of bad comments you get is going to rise. You're not going to pay attention to the good comments because we just don't naturally. It's just something we don't normally do. And then because you view yourself in a way that is reflective of what the people around you say, and the only thing you see are bad things, it always leads to you feeling like shit, basically. When you're like a large figure, it's like you're is pretty bad.
No, you're
So,
right.
like-
It's very valid.
hmm So like the only way to deal with this is you either have to not let other people's opinions like become reflective of how you view yourself, which is I think almost impossible to do if you don't already do that, or you have to filter or find a better way to engage with your audience. And there are a multitude of ways to deal with that. So either really strict moderation that bans or gets rid of a lot of like more toxic comments, either don't read at all or engage with a lot of certain types of comments. So don't read your YouTube comments or Twitter feedback, or find another person to like sort through it for you, like stuff like that.
Okay. That's a very valid point. So let me tell you what I was thinking I need to do before you gave me some really good advice here on that one. I thought, okay, well, I'm feeling the way I feel right now because, for context here, I've been streaming daily since June 26th. I haven't had a day off. My aim was to just kind of like, grind and try to like really maximize the retention of my growth from Mario Maker and try to like stabilize it and kind of be, Destiny Junior if I can, or as close as I can, having as maximum sustainable of a number, just for the longevity and sustainability of my Twitch channel. As everything else, right? Be successful, obviously. And so I've been grinding daily, and so I'm on like day I'm approaching day, I'm probably over day 50 now of doing this every single day, with most days being 8 hours generally minimum. I did like a 12 and a 10 hour and another 8 hour all the previous 3 days. So I've been still hitting it pretty hard. And what's happening is like I'm in this really weird bubble with streaming now where a massive majority of my communication is digital, right? Like I'm
For sure.
in reality, I'm only talking to like my girlfriend. Like we go walk the dog.
Real quick, when you say digital, that includes like talking to your viewers on stream too, right? You consider that digital?
Yes.
Okay.
I consider anything that's not a IRL communication where I can observe like body language and all the other things that are just not like purely what the medium allows you to do. Like even this, I would consider this is definitely therapeutic, but I would say this is to an extent also digital.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you agree with that, or?
Yeah, I mean it's just how you define it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only so my communication is like all digital, and the only IRL thing I have consistently is like when I walk my dog with my girlfriend, generally at like 1 a.m. When I'm done streaming, I make a big initiative to say, hey, like I really want to go walk the dog and I really want to go talk with you. So I have some human to talk to, so I can just kind of keep myself grounded. I feel like without that IRL communication, you kind of just like I kind of like float like a balloon off into the abyss. And I don't know how to really describe it or what it is, but like I feel like I get like very, very thin skinned. Like in the things I'm describing to you now, where I get hypersensitive to critiquing, and like I don't have enough ego to counter that, and like I don't know.
This is most people, by the way. This is almost everybody. So this isn't just like you or like a worthless person or you can't deal with it or whatever. This is like the default human condition.
Okay. Well, why do you feel that is? What is it? Do you think it's the balance of physical communication with another human being because we're social animals? Or what would be your take
I
on?
think we're a social species, right? Like we don't survive well on our own. We have like family units and communities and stuff. So like we're probably pretty naturally wired to get feedback and to get affirmation and stuff from people around us. I would imagine that if this is some Evo psych tier fucking just so story speculation bullshit. But I would like imagine that if you had groups of humans that were far less sociable, that didn't like communicate with each other like that, that their chances of survival would probably be far, far less than those that were. So
that is true. Yeah. Yeah. And there's also, because I definitely feel that, dude. I know I saw a couple studies in the past here about how we're currently going through a quote unquote loneliness epidemic right now.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
Yeah, where a lot of people, I forgot, it's like a very alarmingly high amount of people. It might be particularly millennials, and to an extent, like it's like a uniquely a millennial and Gen Z problem with the with our connected world here, where they feel a huge amount of loneliness. I think it's like, I'll make a number here, but I think I remember being pretty jarring. It's like over half, like 51% plus of of the certain demographic from a particular study or report or survey feel like they are lonely.
Yeah.
Which
and that
is,
seems, this is anecdotal, but like that seems to be the case. It seems like almost every person I talk to around my age, well, anywhere from like 20 to 35, like has like extreme problems with like feeling alone or feeling isolated or feeling like they don't have friends or can't meet people or just feel even sad in general.
yeah, and I agree. This, to be fair, is very, very anecdotal as far as like what I can cite right now. But I look back at myself here and it's like I realized, yeah, I had a pretty potent circle of friends in high school. But then when I graduated high school, the requirement of everyone meeting up arbitrarily for school kind of died. And then my friend group went from like debatably like 30 plus to 4, like overnight, immediately to 4. And then within 6 months it was down to like 2. Only 2 from high school I really retained speaking relationship with everyone too, honestly. And then
I mean, it's hard. Like in high school, you're given like a set of activities to do every day with a group of people to accomplish them with every single day. You have to be around them, and by virtue of that, you're going to socialize with somebody, unless you're like super fucked or something. And then yeah, but I mean, like once you get out of high school, this is one of the things. This is why one of the big litmus tests I always have for people is like when people tell me that their best years were in high school, I usually get like a pretty sad picture of them. Not like they're like a pathetic dipshit person or whatever, but just like, man, your life must be like really shit right now if those are your best years. And that seems to usually be the case. That like when your best years were in high school, you didn't really have to figure much out. Everything was kind of laid out before you. You had friends, you had tasks, you had something to do every day that gave you purpose. You were driven towards it. But then like once you get out of high school, it's kind of like leaving the first city in like an open world like RPG, and you don't really know what to do next. Like imagine going from like being on rails. I guess like a lot of the Final Fantasy games do this, or at least Final Fantasy 7 did, where you spend a lot of time like in the first city and it's on rails and you know what to do all the time. And then as soon as you leave, you're on like an open world map and you have no idea what you're going to do now, except in real life, there isn't like an actual mission or objective. So you're just kind of there. And if you don't have a purpose, you're fucked because you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. You don't really have people that are assigned to you to talk to. So you have to go out and make your own friends, but you don't make them in like an environment anymore where you're forced to be around each other. So you have to like put effort into everything. Everything just becomes so much harder and open. And yeah, it's paralyzing.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head here actually with that one. And I wonder how much that's actually the fact that how much of high school is like really preparing you for the real world. Like, is there really any kind of classes on like, do I want to say something as like trivial as like friendship making? But I feel like I guess communications, right? That's kind of what. Because like you're not really taught communications in high school, are you? It's a.
I mean, I don't know if like a communications class is going to help you. Like what you said, this is more like a friend thing. Like it's a lot. It's different. I don't want to say more complicated, but it's definitely different. I think one of the problems is that like what an interesting question to ask somebody is have we improved as a society? And when you ask somebody that, like over the past like 200 years, and usually when you ask somebody that, usually the question is like immediately they'll say yes, because that seems almost self-evident. But if you ask somebody, okay, well, have we improved as a society? If you set aside like say we set aside social issues and say we set aside technology, so this gets rid of like medical advancements and shit, would you still say that we've like evolved as a society? Because when you look at some of the basic things like making friends or finding lovers or treating your family better, these aren't really things that we focus on at all as a society. We don't really like teach people or talk about like making better friends or how to find people or how to maintain our relationships. Like I don't know if we've actually progressed at all in these realms, and if anything we might have even regressed a little bit because we're so focused on like other types of stuff, like making technological advancements and medical advancements and better computers and phones and blah blah blah, but we don't really think about like the more fundamental stuff because we kind of always took it for granted.
Yeah. Yeah. But you make a very valid point here. Another observation I have here is that so again, this is still pretty anecdotal, but yeah, high school for me dwindled to 2, and then I realized that yeah, all the friends I made pretty much the last like 15 years have all been coworkers. And I guess is that
normal? Yeah,
that's the natural like I guess thing of how things work now.
Yeah, there's always like these weird pieces of advice that float around. Like I hear people say, like in regards to, for instance, dating coworkers, people say like, "Don't shit where you work" or whatever. And I don't know who actually, I don't know who makes that advice that actually works, because like it just happens. Like your coworkers will almost always like become your friends or become your like dating partners, just because like by virtue of spending that much time around someone, it's just like high school again. Like you're bound to form relationships with these people. You almost have to. And for the people that don't, it's this is I'm going so anecdotal here. I would be interested if there's a point on this. But the people that don't make friends or lovers at their workplace, the people that don't do that because they don't want to quote unquote shit where they work, I don't know people that avoid that but then have other relationships outside of work. I don't think I've ever met a person like that. I have met a few people that don't like to form relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic ones, at work. I've met those people before, but all of them just seem really lonely. I don't meet people like that who also have a ton of relationships outside of work.
That's a fair point. I even go as far as say, yeah, those who would do that, are they doing like blind dates? Is that seems like such like a dated, antiquated concept at this point? I would say, like, who's really going to go out for a zero overlap, ice cold blind date at this point by comparison, without some kind of like pre-existing context to like meet the person?
Yeah,
I don't know. Again, it's like super anecdotal.
but then it might be on some
context
ends.
there.
This is like high conjecture area now. Okay, so okay, like it might even be though that like the ability to filter out like who we meet and everything first, that might actually be detrimental to us. Like if I could go through on like an app and I could choose like certain people that I never want to meet, like maybe I might pick something like Trump supporter, or maybe I'll pick something
Ooh.
like somebody who likes reality TV. And by doing this, I might actually be filtering out a ton of people that, had I been forced to socialize with them, I might have clicked with them really well anyway. Right? Like there are a lot of friends that you meet that like I'm sure even in high school you'll probably look
change your
back on some
perspective.
friends. Yeah, well maybe, yeah, but not even necessarily perspective. There might be friends that you had back in high school that you look back on and it's like, man, like I bet like politically or ethically or even in terms of interests, we probably didn't share as much as I would normally demand if I was meeting like a stranger, you know?
That's very true, and that's something I've considered in the inevitability of the future. Once we have like augmented reality, and I'm sort of derailing a little bit right now, but like in the hypothetical future here, let's say 10 years from now, we have like Google Glasses, and there's like every competitor's gonna make their own take on the Google Glasses, and you'll be able to like integrate social media into it, so you can literally give yourself tags. You can say Destiny, whatever, atheist, high IQ, I don't know, whatever the fuck, right? And you can, like you said, I can just take my tags and like filter out the people I don't want to talk to or want to see. So like in a dream scenario, you have your cafeteria tray, you walk into the cafeteria on your first day of like, I don't know, community college or whatever, right? You have your Google AR glasses on, and you can just see who is in what tags, and you can determine what table you want to sit at based off of that. You have a pre-filter game essentially, and I wonder,
there's like,
how crazy that would be, actually.
Too much. Yeah. One thing that is very frustrating to me, because I'm like a big, like, I don't know if I would say like I'm a big data guy, but like I want to feel like every part of the human condition can be like quantified and analyzed, that there's, things like love and all these emotions can eventually be boiled down to some to some type of like a molecule or whatever, and can be like quantitatively measured instead of qualitatively assessed. Even despite me feeling that, like there is still like undeniably some aspect of meeting people in real life that I can't find a way to make this like reduced to paper. This even happened relatively recently to me, where like there are people that I know about like online, and I've even spoken to these people, even on voice before I've spoken to these people, and I just like, for a variety of reasons, like I don't think I would ever be a friend with this person. I just don't, not at all. But then once you meet them in real life, there's some qualitative aspect to that it's like, wow, actually I feel like I have a lot of chemistry with you. I don't know why, I get that feeling, and like I would definitely hang out with this person or be friends with this person. And given like an infinite set of online filters to decide who I want to hang out with, I would never see a person like that anyway, which is probably done at a harm to me, even though I feel like I'm selecting for myself, personally. It still seems like, and I say this a lot, like I think there is something about real life interactions that I'm not going to say it's impossible to capture online, but it just hasn't been captured in online interactions yet. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I mean, have you taken a communications course before?
No.
So there's and it's totally fine. There's like I learned a lot, actually. It was a major eye opener for me. It was an elective I took in my freshman year of community college, like in 2008, and that course, it has a lot of common sense things that you can obviously read about and Google about now, but just being in the course got me woke to the fact that we communicate around everyone, voluntarily or not, whenever you're in your same physical presence. essentially, I forget the exact stat here, but what 7% of what you actually say is what you intend to communicate, and more of it's based off of like your tone, speed of delivery, and all the other bodily communication realms that you're going to use to like convey how you feel. So
Sure.
so that's why when you use purely text, you have to like use
It's
tone,
not the same.
tone modifiers, etc. Right. Well, the point is, your brain's taking in like just hypothetically here 93% more information when you're communicating with someone IRL than even when we lose a lot of that when you do it on a digital now.
Well, what's even worse than that is it's not like that information is missing when you're doing it online. You're actually probably filling in a lot of it yourself. So you're making a lot of assumptions without even realizing it when you talk to someone online about how they are or the types of gestures they may be making or the tone they have, which can be even more damaging. And I'm sure I don't know if this is like something I'd suggest, which hurts for a lot of people, but like sometimes it's really good if you have like relationships and you have like a problem. Sometimes it's really good to actually talk about these, even if it's just over voice rather than doing it in text, because especially when someone is in a bad mood, they can read into a whole lot of what you say in a really negative way that you didn't intend it. Like all of a sudden, like harmless comments become super passive aggressive, or like random statements can become like inflammatory or offensive, and it's just because you're in a bad mood and that's how you're interpreting everything. Actual voice communication can
You're
help with a lot of that.
Sorry, you're completely correct. And I already did that subconsciously already. I already would opt to like never engage in heated discussion over text because I feel like misinterpretations can be lost really easily. And I always would opt to do things in person if it was something like really big or whatever. That's some very, very good advice. I think that like anyone who's currently in a relationship right now, whether it be romantically or whatever, should always like opt for that, because communication can't be undone. That was one of the big laws that stuck with me there. Like you can't uncommunicate things. You can try to remedy and change the perception of things like after the fact, but it can't be undone. So it's really important to keep that in mind. And whether you want to like fix things on some kind of hindsight basis, or if you want to just go YOLO and not give a shit about the reception, sure, do your thing. But I agree with you. Definitely opt for anything major to be done in person. With that in mind, crap, what was I gonna say here? I had another.
Oh, fuck! Somebody linked somebody linked a Key and Peele sketch that like perfectly illustrates what I'm talking about. Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say here actually, even if you're not hearing discussion here, I feel like there are a certain common text acronyms that are pretty problematic to use now, like FYI and IMO. Both to me kind of give
both of these. Yeah,
they really give off a condescending or like snarky tone, when in actuality like their acronyms supposedly don't imply such, but people will take FYI, IMHO. So it's like, I don't know, like I've never seen like a comment that used those and like wasn't interpreted as like a kind of like a douchebag tone, I guess.
Yep, 100%. If I'm talking to somebody and they're like, hey, do you want to chat or whatever? Like, I'm going to be out with some friends later, FYI. Like, when I read that, and it tries really hard because I usually know how they're using it. But, like, I'll read it. It's like, what, for your information? What, so I need to talk to you now? Or you're, like, never going to talk to me again? Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Like, okay, like, chill. Like it instantly goes to, like, a really bad place when I read stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to
like, try really hard to override it consciously.
Exactly that, yeah. If I use IMO, I subconsciously want to, like, dumb down, or, like, I want to, like, de-intensify that tone. With like some other filler words to just make that like I wanted to use IMO, but I need to like make that seem like I'm not being a dick about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's other acronyms too here, but that just that's just more or less illustrating the point to you, the power of text and interpretation. It's shaky. It's really shaky. All the reason why, again, talking in person is definitely the best to get like the most vivid, direct form of communication. So yeah, I agree with you. That something about it being in person is just really powerful. But continuing that though, yeah, I've been doing 50 plus days of streaming nonstop here. My skin's getting thin. I'm kind of like a balloon drifting away here. I'm just like, I'm wondering like, okay, well, now that I'm at this this level of visibility with broadcasting, I wonder how other people do it. And you just happen to be the first person I can talk to today about that, because I was like kind of in my sad boy feels yesterday. Because I was be totally honest here, I was reading some YouTube comments, and I know it's YouTube comments, it got to me. I was reading them. I haven't had any negative ones so far here, but my last 3 videos I had some. Admittedly, it was a minority of people who were like upset about some stuff, and I was just like, I took it like a little way too literally. And I'm wondering here, like, what do you do? I guess, like, one, what's your perspective on how to treat the critique and validation of YouTube comments? Because obviously, because you're a Twitch broadcaster, so I know you understand here that, like, it's a different thing. They're not getting the elaborative context of perhaps what you do on your hours of live stream compared to the edited, condensed form of your YouTube videos. What is your take on your feedback here, and how do you file it? And then how do you like maintain your ego to not get bogged down in like a sad boys feel whenever you perhaps admit that there is some legitimacy to their comments and critiquing?
So the most important part, okay, so here's something that I'm going to caution you against taking advice from anybody. It took me a long time to learn this. I'm going to tell you everything that I tell you today might be totally worthless. I can tell you what I think is going on in my head in terms of how I cope with this stuff and why it doesn't bother me. But it's entirely possible that that's just kind of like the way that I'm built. And that's just the way that I am. And everything I'm telling you only makes sense from like a post hoc point of view. Like, of course this works for me, but that's because I already have like the type of head where it doesn't bother me. So it's actually not good advice, or it's actually not real advice. I'm just telling you things that sound good to me because I already don't care. That's like the first thing I'll caution you against. All right.
Okay, got it. Disclaimer. Disclaimer.
So like,
understood.
yeah, because it's possible that I've like created these rationalizations in my head where I'm like, oh well, this is why I don't care. But in reality, me not caring is like fundamentally rooted deeper inside of me, and I just am not aware of it. That's something that I'll start off with. Okay.
Okay.
So like, the way that I try to view this, the way that I look at this is that I have, in my opinion, like the most important thing is to have like a good view of who you are, what you want to do, and like where your strengths and weaknesses are. So like, I think I have a really realistic assessment of who I am, of myself. I think I know what I'm good at. I think I know what I'm bad at. And then I know like the areas that I want to improve in. So like the direction I want to move forward. I think as long as you kind of like, as long as you can hold on to that and you kind of keep that part of you, that like, it makes it so that like outside comments are a little bit easier to deal with, or you don't have to worry about it as much, because like you can read like horrible mean comments, you know, over and over and over again, but as long as you have like a good view of yourself and you don't let other people define you too much, it becomes easier to deal with. But for a lot of people that's really hard, because it seems like by like naturally a lot of people want to take their value from other people. And if that's like the mindset that you're kind of in, I think that you're always going to be like doomed for online interactions, insofar as like how to deal with like negative feedback. In terms of like actually parsing the comments and figuring out like what do you do with them, I think there's always valid feedback when people make comments, even if they're horrible and unconstructive. Because at the very least, if you see a lot of like a similar type of comment, you know that like something they're saying is appealing to some matter of existence. So let's say that like somebody says like, let's say like, let's talk about an invalid one. Let's say everybody in the YouTube comment section is saying, I don't like Trihex, he's a thug. All right. And we're all Fox News viewers, right? Sure. Even if like that piece of advice is worthless or racist or wrong, it's at least appealing to the underlying fact that like, oh, hey, like I'm black, maybe, right? So even though it seems like a worthless comment, at least you're aware of like, well, what underlying fact is making people have that opinion, you know? Or saying like when I do debates, right? Everyone's like, oh, he's a venture hero of the left. He just talks fast to win debates, blah, blah, blah. It's like, even if I don't think I do that, there's a reason why people think I do that. And I need to be aware of that reasons. Because then I need to know, like, do I want to change this or do I want to like keep going with it? I don't care about the feedback about it, right? There's some underlying truth there where I can glean some useful information off of, even like non-constructive or toxic feedback, right?
No, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Knowing like what your objective reality, what you do versus what is perceived by the masses is important to like change their perspective, right? No, I get that for sure. Shit, what was I gonna say about that? I'm sorry. I was going to say that's really, really good. I agree with you there. Oh yeah, normally, so in my head, when I was in the moment and I was thinking about like why I feel this way, how did I get myself in this like pit of like, you know, of sadness and despair over these like these just negative comments, right? But like for some reason, and I've gotten them before in the past like month or so, but like this time it was like just like, you know, back to back to back, and like maybe it was consecutive, and like maybe I was just tired and I let it get to me here. But I thought, is it because my current work-life balance is not good enough? Obviously, I'm streaming for 50 days straight. I'm doing a fuck ton of sedentary activity lifestyle choices right now. I'm in this chair all damn day. I'm barely moving. My only movement's really like, you know, Omega Law from the kitchen, from my PC chair to the refrigerator to grab a snack and come back here and continue streaming. My walk, all I do now is I walk my dog twice a day, and that's like abysmal on the amount of time I'm currently moving. I am easily the unhealthiest I've been in the last 5 years since I started working out in 2015 or 2014. And I'm like, man, how did I do this before? And usually I feel like I had a stronger ego and, again, a sense of identity because I worked out. Like, I worked out, I felt good, I knew I was fit, and then that kind of gave me the natural, like, I don't know, I guess endorphins release to, like, you know, be like, okay, well, you know, I'm fit, so, or I'm getting fit, so I feel good, so I'm not, my skin's not as thin to take these critiques and, like, you know, make it a progressive improvement rather than like dwell and feel defensive subconsciously, because I have to defend how I'm trying my best here, but I'm not doing good enough. That's kind of what it feels like.
One thing that I noticed, I learned this while working at the casino, is that like there are multiple areas of your life that can be in chaos or in flux, or that can cause you a great amount of dissatisfaction or pain. And it's always good to have at least like one or two areas of your life that you can kind of retreat to that are never in flux, that will always make you happy. So like a good example of this in a work environment is like sometimes you can have shitty fucking customers. That's an understatement in customer service. Sometimes you can have shitty fucking bosses and management. But if you have cool coworkers, then you can, that's like your safe place to retreat to, right? Horrible fucking customer comes in, you get into an argument with it, shitty ass manager comes in, throws you the fuck under the bus, you get fucked. But at the end of the day, you go to the back, you know, laugh about it with your employees, like fuck the manager, fuck the customers, fuck this place. And you all kind of like, that's like your safe space, right? You retreat back to it and you're good. For other people, sometimes this might be like a relationship at home. You go to work, you have a shitty day at work, it kind of sucks, you go home, but hey, at least like the person you love is there and you can spend some time together. You can vent a little bit, you can go out to eat, you can do something and take your mind off of it. I think that like if something like your gym stuff, if that's like a safe retreat for you and you've kind of thrown this to the wayside and you've replaced something that's like a really safe spot for you with something that can be in flux, then you run the risk of that thing making you unhappy or sad. And now you have replaced something that would like be like a rock for you to kind of like build your emotional state off of. You've replaced that with something that's no longer stable. And then when that thing goes bad, now you're like, holy fuck, I'm fucking miserable. And I feel like that might be one of the reasons why. I don't know how important like the gym routine and that kind of health stuff is to you, but if that is something that's important to you, then I mean, I could see replacing that with something less stable as being something really bad.
So I guess a little bit of context there would be that I miss working out. I love working out. And more that I just needed more time to do things because, you know, before the blow up, my YouTube was irrelevant essentially. Sure. So it was just, you know, just Twitch grind. But now I have like, you know, more growth and everything else. And so now it's like, you know, it's do the YouTube streams, which produces the content, collaborate with my editor to get the YouTube editing content going, and then maintain and engage with my YouTube community as well as my Discord community as well as my Twitch chat. And it's just like, you know, I'm being stretched a lot more thin now, which is good. I mean, I'm in more demand, which is like, you know, what you want as a content creator. But I'm also like just really strapped on time. So it's like, I was aware that something had to go because obviously, you know, as a content creator, the thing where our most strapped resources I'd imagine would be time.
Time is always, yeah.
It's always time, right? So yeah, and in regards to that, you know, the meal prepping, cardio, and gym were all a very expensive ask in relation to like me doing my job optimally as a content creator. So I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna grind hard because I only get Mario Maker. You know, I get this Mario Maker virality like, you know, once every couple of years or however long, or, you know, whenever it's gonna happen, right? It's like one of my bread and butters essentially. It's like essentially the equivalent of you getting an approval to debate Ben Shapiro. Like you get this, like you're gonna, you know, the minute you get a greenlit to actually have Ben confirmed to debate you're gonna like literally, you might even go AFK for 2 weeks. It's just like, you know, comprehensively prepare for this debate to absolutely annihilate him, hypothetically. So, you know, because you know that the payoff there's going to be like amazing. So in that regard, for me, I knew that if I like cut off gym to maximize my time, I say cut off. It's more like I don't have the time to go to gym at this point. To maximize having a fuckload of time dedicated to everything I want to do. Eventually, I can stabilize later on here. Which my goal there was just to like, you know, I wanted to like kind of grind hard until TwitchCon. Like my first real break would be when I attend TwitchCon, and then after that, I definitely want to slow things down, have a more appropriate work-life balance where I resume gym and not do these marathon unhealthy binge streams and kind of like, you know, make things a little more balanced there. In case you're wondering, this is more of a context builder that, yeah, I'm grinding right now, but I don't think this is sustainable long term, and I don't know I think it's healthy at all. And that eventually,
yeah, just be careful. You don't want to do like permanent damage to the way that you view the stream stuff. So for instance, if you're so miserable now and you try to grind this out for a few weeks and then you like take a break on it, you might come back and never really enjoy it the same way again, because you might build like such a negative association with it. I would be careful of that. I don't know like how much you'd have to fuck yourself to do that, but like I think that like people can burn out on streaming by going too hard sometimes. That's why a lot of people just like start to stop streaming and stuff. But yeah.
Well, okay, this might get to some like really nitty gritty then, but like I will admit here's a super anecdotal thing that maybe you can give me some insight on. You went to, you know, Europe and Sweden and Germany and all that for like 2 weeks, right? How did you find comfort in just like going, like just leaving the stream environment for 2 whole weeks? That's like 2 weeks. That's like 1/26th of the year. That's like a load of time.
It was really, really, really hard. It's not good.
Okay, so it was not a pleasant thing for you in terms of like the stress of the opportunity cost.
Kind of, yeah. But I also like I have the mindset where like I like to work all the time and I like lots of conflict all the time. Like, but that I think I'm like relatively unique there. I don't know why. It's the way that I am. So yeah, so for me, like I always want to be streaming, or I always want to be fighting with people, or I always want to be doing something related to my career. Like I like doing that 24/7. I'm always on my phone. I'm always doing emails. I'm always doing Discord messages, or I'm streaming, or I'm preparing for the next stream or debate or something right now.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the flow I've been in lately. Actually, I'm just like, you know, I've genuinely been really engaged. I've actually been for the first time in a very, very, very long time. I actually been playing games off stream. Something I haven't done.
Interesting.
Well, because in Mario Maker you can build levels. You know, you can make them as well as play them. So I've been making levels off stream, and it's been very pleasant. It's something I haven't had a desire to. Usually, whenever I'm in a typical broadcast environment, for me, it's like I reserve all game playing as stream content, but I never like really game off stream, which I think is probably like a red flag of like a disconnect between like pleasure and work at some point. But but yeah, now like I'm like, it's way healthier. I've never been at this point before in the foreseeable while here that I actually or the recallable while here to want to do that. So I think I'm doing better on that front right there. But here's the red flag though. It was like I was walking my girlfriend, walking my dog with my
walking your girlfriend. Okay, they need exercise.
Yeah, she has a leash and everything. You know, into that kiki shit. No, I was walking my dog with my girlfriend one night at some point last week here, and I was telling her the idea that, well, maybe we can go to you know, because she has she's a full-time student right now, so whenever spring semester comes around, or whenever winter break happens, we should go do something nice, you know. So I was thinking, okay, maybe we can go to Disney World. Then I thought, well, shit, dude, if I'm grinding right now, can I afford a week off? Should I do like 3 weeks off? Should I even go at all? Like, I kind of caught myself like really like hesitant to commit even to telling her like, yes, I agree to Disney World, we should go do that or do something cool. Like, you know, we can go fly to Orlando and like do something cool out there. But like, how long can I go, and how much of it could I really enjoy and not like feel the guilt and the burn of like the opportunity cost of maintaining the empire I built, quote unquote. That's what it feels like. I need to like better bridge like the mental thing of like I should give myself breaks, but I do want to maintain what I have so far, and I'm not really sure how to really address that well mentally. So I was kind of wondering by comparison like what you did to like how you told yourself, yes, I deserve to take this 2-week trip to do things because it's gonna like. Do you feel it's like an anti-burnout thing, or was it like something extraneous?
Oh no, fuck! I had some really dumb, like big personal issues that came up. That's why I did it. Otherwise, I don't think I ever would. So I'm not a good person to ask on that. Taking like a long trip seems like really painful. If I can't find a way to stream it, and even on the thing that I did, like I still try. Even when I did take that big personal vacation, I tried to find a way to roll a business opportunity into it. I got that other company to sponsor me with like that kit that I could try like mobile streaming and whatnot.
Okay.
So,
yeah, it's kind of how I was looking at it too. Like I have to usually every trip I take ends up being a business trip. Like even TwitchCon is like a super. I have like meetings at the Wazoo planned. I have a bunch of shit planned. It's actually it's funny because like it's supposed to it will be ultimately an unwind thing for me, and I do enjoy having the confidential, off the grid, non DMs, non backtracked, candid, non super scripted, presentable versions of conversations with other streamers who understand what I'm going through. That feels very rejuvenative and pleasurable. But obviously I'm also doing a fuck ton of meetings and work at TwitchCon because, you know, we're Twitch power players, so it's obviously it's all in our element to like engage with these like opportunities and figure out, you know, where I'm taking my stream next year and try to like pre-plan as far as I can for any kind of future opportunities and innovations to keep myself relevant. So but yeah, it's kind of it's mostly business. It is some pleasure, but definitely like not like quote unquote pleasure. It's more of a rejuvenative, mental health, anti-burnout kind of thing. Like I don't really, it's not gonna, I'm gonna go into San Diego for TwitchCon and like I'm gonna go to the beach. Like I'm gonna barely be getting sleep there. It's gonna be like a 5-hour night kind of thing between the, you know, the Discord party and, you know, a very eventful day 1, day 2, and day 3. So yeah, I hear you on that one. Usually whenever I travel, it's usually gotta be business related, or else it's not like, or else it's a vacation. If it's a vacation, I gotta be mentally prepared for like, you know, the slump that will come from being inactive if I ever choose to completely be inactive. You know, the slump of viewers and subs and everything else.
Yeah, and streaming is kind of unique in that like you can't just leave it and come back and make the same amount of money. Like if you leave, you're losing like every day you're gone and not streaming, you're kind of like losing out on that, right?
Yeah, it's a oh boy. It's a unique thing. It's something I didn't really consider. Like whenever I got partnership in like June 2013, like it's really funny because I actually would love to hear this about you too here, but just to give you a framing on what I'm talking about here. I started streaming in February 2011, right? I was on Twitch day 1 when it debuted June 2011, or approximately June 2011. I think it's whenever it switched to twitch.tv. And I didn't get partnership until June 2013. And for context there, I got the tryhard emote November 2012. I got the global emote before I got the sub button, to give you an idea. That's how crazy this process was of getting a sub button back then. It was like, you know, it was a really, really big deal. Like you pretty much had to have 500 viewers average to get a sub button, like back in the gap, y'all. Like it was like a huge, very
and that was a lot of viewers back then.
That was if you had a quad digit view count, man, you were a god. You were like clearly in the top 0.1%. Like you guys understand, like in 2012, like a quote unquote a lit directory was 400 viewers. Like if Street Fighter 4 at 400 viewers, you're like, oh shit, dude, this is like a major tournament going on right now. What's going on here, dude? It was crazy. And but the point is though, is that like whenever I would stream before the sub button, I didn't have this overwhelming amount of like guilt and obligation I felt to like, you know, to appease my paying, loving support, my monetary support. And then once I got the sub button, it was like, oh wow, well this feels different. Like I recall like the first time I wanted to take a day off on a day that I could stream just to like unwind and like chill or whatever, because I was still a part-time student at that time. And I was like, ooh, dude, this feels really guilty right now. And that feeling kind of has never really left. I didn't know what I was getting into, but it's kind of like, you know, the post Hiroshima, I guess here. I don't know really how to really put it. So I'm kind of wondering.
Wait, what?
I don't know. I was trying to think of like I thought of like an atomic bomb. I couldn't think of like how to like, you know, it can't be undone. Like, you know, this is like once you hit yes on the sub button, this is like what it feels like now, and I can't ever undo it. You know, you can't undo what, you know, when you hit the yes button on that bomb. So I'm sorry, I couldn't think of like a more tasteful metaphor. Sure. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So I guess I'm wondering here, like, did that ever affect you? Did you ever stream before monetary support, and did you feel a transition whenever you had that support at that point?
No, so like I guess like I said, like the way that I kind of view it is that like if people are subbing to me, I figure it's because they appreciate me and they like my content, which feels good. But I mean, I don't think I owe anything to my viewers. I don't think they owe anything to me. I would just hope that the people that sub are doing so because they like what I do. And then that is the extent of our relationship. Like if I'm going to take a break, or I'm going to take a vacation, or I'm going to be off doing something else, or I'm going to play League of Legends. You know, if I'm doing something at the time that they don't like, then they're free to sub to somebody else, or not sub to me, or not watch me. That's fine. I accept that trade-off. If I'm doing something else, I have to, right? You can't force people to watch me. And then that's just kind of how I view it. Yeah.
Okay.
When you start viewing yourselves as having like obligations to your viewers, I think you put yourself in a really bad place. because you start to get into this weird thing where it's like, what do I owe my viewers? And like, am I making a mistake by playing the wrong type of game or something like this? Gets like really worrisome, I think.
Ooh, you were hitting the nail so hard in the head here. That was me big time in 2015. That was Mario Maker 1. That was me hardcore. I think I was in a very, very very bad spot mentally with that one. That's kind of why I fell apart. Dude, I fell apart so hard, dude. Like I don't know if you want to hear more about that. Well, before we continue here, actually, because I think we're almost at an hour now here. Are there topics you want to talk about today, or do you mind just continuing diving in?
Just go on this. Go for it.
Fuck it, dude. All right, I'm glad y'all are enjoying this. By the way, oh fuck, what was I gonna say about that now? Yeah, that obligation and that guilt can kind of paralyze and numb you. And the issue I had in 2015 with this was the fact that I went from being a 700 viewer streamer average back in 2015. When Mario Maker blew up on me, I became like immediately like a 4K viewer overnight, and then an 8K viewer streamer for essentially 2.5 months straight until I took a break because I was so burnt out on the whole thing. Like I was doing like incredibly unhealthy things. I'm doing a better balance now, but back then I was doing like legit 16 to 18 hours daily. My schedule got so fucked because I was just continually pushing it, 3 hours in one direction day by day, to the point where I was unironically waking up at 3 a.m. and I was an EU streamer because I had stayed up every day late for so long consecutively. To the point where it got so bad that there was actually a point where I was waking up at like 7 p.m. the wrong way. Like just that's how fucked it was getting.
Classic streamer hours. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. And it was crazy because there was actually and the worst of it, there was a point where I didn't talk to anybody for like 3 days. Like it was like literally I woke up alone, streamed alone, threw a frozen pizza in the oven, ate that alone, streamed alone, and was just alone. Like no IRL feedback whatsoever. Roommates were completely passed out. My door was closed. I never spoke with them because I was just streaming all fucking day. And it was getting pretty surreal, dude. I realized I was kind of like trapped in my own thoughts. And if I saw like one negative Twitter comment, I would like let it really get to me. Like whatever problem I felt yesterday, it was like that times 100 then, because I was like so not used to it, and B, I don't know, very very isolated I felt at that time. Well, anyways though, the I let the view count kind of like be my only metric I'd pay attention to. I was like, okay, if the view count's dropping, I'm doing something wrong. Like I would overemphasize the view count and not pay attention to like, quantity of active chatters or density of subscribers who are like, enjoying the stream and getting their feedback. I would ignore everything else and look at view count, which is like, I think a very, very terrible habit to have as a broadcaster, because there's many reasons beyond your control why view count can decline. But I would see that, and so I would only do the thing that was the maximum viewer retention, which was the highest variety of stuff, which was playing the super expert mode, where you just like play a bunch of levels back to back, minimal commentary, minimal personality injection, just do more gameplay and keep the viewers there. And it was a little bit, it got very, very boring because it was the same stuff over and over again ultimately, and I got kind of like burnt out on it. Well, the problem is I invested in that and did this for like a solid 1.5 years straight. And then eventually, whenever I got completely burnt out, where I could not find any fucks to give to play this game anymore the way I was playing it, I was done. The viral wave of Mario Maker was over, and I had long since, I was burnt out on Mario Maker. I was burnt out on Yoshi's Island, the game I used to play before that. And so I had nothing. I grew up with Yoshi's Island, and I exploded off of Mario Maker, and both options to me were completely boring and numbing, and I didn't know where to go. So like by February 2017, I had nothing, dude. I felt like I had a view count that was slumping. I had a sub count that was slumping. I felt like I had an irrelevance that was diminishing. I felt like I was effectively getting Thanos, and I didn't know what to do. And it was just that was really, really scary. I'm kind of wondering, like, I guess I told you the story here because you mentioned here that the don't put your weight on the view count, but I was kind of just wanting to tell you like a cool little thing about how I've gotten better since then, because that was, I am where I am now because I learned from that experience to like, gotta do more than just your view count. You gotta do more about the metrics here. You gotta like, I don't know, I guess like have self-love or a healthier evaluation of like how your stream is performing to like not go insane.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is kind of why, like I've said this a trillion times, and I say to a lot of people, I usually try to maximize for what I find most enjoyable when I stream. I don't usually do the things that like people want to see. Like I know my view counts for everything I do. I think that's important to know, but like I'm not always going to do the thing that gives me the highest view count.
Yeah. Okay, I know what it was now. I was gonna ask you. Okay, well, how do you was there a point where you did you always play like League and Minecraft, these other like things that like seem more like you know a happy you time than say like the I guess the debate prep or debate
Yeah,
stuff?
I do whatever I want to do all the time on my stream. Always, there's never an exception. Unless maybe I'm like running like an hour sponsored thing or something. But yeah.
Okay. So you always did. There was never a transition to where you opted to do that. It was always that.
Nope. Yeah, it was always whatever I wanted to do. I think. Yeah.
Damn, dude. Fucking, you know, big brother in chat, dude. Alpha as fuck, dude. Off the jump. Well, I guess that's different because of how I got into streaming versus how you got into streaming, actually. Maybe. I got in through speed running, and then there was like a, you know, I speed ran offline, and there was an avenue to speed run online.
Mhm.
Can you remind me again, actually, how did you I know that you had the whole like casino job into some other shit here, but how'd you get into broadcasting again?
Basically, just my friend Kyle said, I think, fuck, I wish I actually, I don't actually remember how this started, so I kind of make this up when but I'm pretty sure, maybe if Kyle's right here, maybe I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he literally like suggested one day, I think he said something like there are like these Korean people sometimes that try to do this live streaming thing, and you should try it, and I looked into it, and like the software challenges to get everything working were like pretty substantial, and there was no documentation or anything, and getting everything to work was like really hard. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, because I have a decent like software background, like I know how to make shit work, at least compared to other streamers. So like I dug into that a lot, and I like threw together like this hodgepodge of software to get shit working. And then I think I've always been like pretty funny to play games with, like playing games like after school, like in the hallway, we'd play like Tekken and shit, and like people usually seem to enjoy that experience of like playing games. Like I talk a lot of shit and everything, and it's a lot of fun. And so yeah, I think that like from there, I was like, okay, yeah, fuck it, I'll try the streaming thing. And then I just, started working with it, and then the industry kind of grew, and then I kind of grew alongside it, and that's how it started off in the early days. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That's very wow. I mean, you couldn't be debatably further apart from that one. That's like a really nonchalant thing for you, whereas for me it was like this like completely different thing, because I was actually getting burnt out on speedrunning. I was getting to the point where I was getting a diminishing return on it, because by this point I was at the kind of at the crossroads where I need to figure out, okay, am I going to pursue a career path? Am I going to like actually take this like Chili's restaurant thing seriously, and can I pursue higher employment at a Fortune 500 company and like have a banger resume and get and do the corporate ladder climb and all the other horseshit there? Am I going to take this seriously and like stop pussyfooting around being a part-time student, part-time waiter, full-time depressed, and just like drop the waiter job, actually have a full focus on the academic climb, and just cave in, bend over, lube up, and get a student loan, and like do the depth grind, I guess.
Oh yeah, my life was already over by the time I started looking into streaming. I'd lost my job at the casino that I had spent so much time on. I'd failed school to maintain it, so I was already fucking lost everything. So I was unemployed, I think, when I started, living off my 401k from the casino, and I kind of streamed in like the time I had there. I got really lucky because StarCraft 2 was like the game that was like big coming up, and I was a StarCraft player, so it was a natural extension for me to jump into StarCraft 2, and then yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was fuck, dude. And then yeah, streaming was a thing. I didn't even know it existed. That's the funny part. Like I didn't know it existed until literally January 2011. I'm like, oh cool, that's the thing. I'm gonna
I mean, even in 2013, people didn't know streaming existed. It was still really small. Even today, to some extent, it's getting there. It's pretty big now, actually. I wonder what the 50% mark or whatever is, but maybe most people know about streaming now. But yeah, even back like in 2013 and 2014, when we felt like it was exploding because MLGs had all these people, or whatever, I think most people still had no fucking idea what the fuck streaming was.
This is a good point you bring up right now. Super anecdotal, obviously here, but I would say that the catalyst that made streaming blow up to a more mainstream accessibility to me was the 2014. 2014 was the year where I believe both modern consoles, the Xbox One and the PS4, had Twitch apps on them by default, and that led to a huge boom of any like savvy modern 8th generation console gamer being exposed relatively close to the Twitch ecosystem at that point.
Sure.
Which, fun fact by the way, if I want to remind you here, initially the PS4 launched with Ustream as their streaming platform of choice here, but that partnership fell apart really quickly, and then Twitch promptly replaced it like a couple months later.
Yeah, I remember I streamed on Ustream for a few months.
Did you?
Actually, my page might still be up on Ustream. Steven_Bonnell_II Ustream.
Wait, I can do this too actually. Ustream.tv. Wait, is it .tv?
I don't remember. Oh fuck, I don't see it anymore.
Wait,
maybe it's not up anymore.
Ustream. Yeah, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's IBM
Is Ustream
Cloud.
not up anymore? Maybe
it's IBM Cloud Video now. Wait, what?
Oh, it doesn't even exist anymore. Video.ibm.
Damn, they dude, that was literally Thanos. That's not even a website anymore. Holy shit.
Yeah. And then there was that, and then there was I think livestream.com. That branding, and they still failed, but that's the first that I think I streamed on. That was back when you had to download like a little flash broadcaster to help you before these other programs started to allow you to do it. And,
wait.
You could only
I remember
broadcast
this,
at 300 kilobits per second.
Was it Adobe FMLE full media?
That was even before our Flash Media Live encoder. Before that, but yeah, that's eventually if you wanted to be a high quality streamer, you'd stop using their built-in little Java programs or whatever, and you'd switch over to Adobe Flash Media Live encoder. Yeah.
Dude, I remember. Dude, these videos were like hyper scuffed, dude. I remember there were like threads on certain like video production forums that were like, "Oh man, you'll never need more than 150 kilobyte per second bandwidth or whatever."
Oh, maybe I don't know. That
was
was
like,
those days were sad. Days.
it was hyper scuffed, dude. Yeah.
Wait, here it is.
Wait, you found it?
Oh yeah, I was Destiny-0. Oh, probably because Destiny was taken.
Wait, this shit word. Wait. So ustream.tv/channel/
This is a StarCraft 2 stream for Destiny from the North American servers. You can watch this directly from my website at steven-bonnell-ii.com/StarCraft 2 site. Oh, I built that whole site myself. I had the little notepad files and everything. I did all the HTML and the CSS all on my own by hand without Dreamweaver or anything. Those are the days. I offer 1 hour's worth of lessons for $20 and accept PayPal for payments. Aw. I must have written this probably 9 years ago.
2? Dude, I can't. I'm jelly. Dude, yours works. I can't find mine. I have no clue what mine is. I had a Ustream though. The only reason I used Ustream, by the way, because I could have been on Justin TV like months earlier and had like a bigger flex on like when my account was created. Was purely because Justin TV's viewer counter was garbage, like super garbage, and like it often wouldn't update for upwards of like 10 minutes back then. So Ustream's counter was a little more active, even if it came with a bunch of other like bullshit. That was purely the reason why. Like there was like nothing to do with anything else here. Like people don't know, like back in the wild west, I don't know, dude. There was like, what was the game? It was like My Free Cams versus Ustream versus Justin TV versus some other shit. There was like so many.
My Free Cams existed back then. I could be wrong, but.
Well, it
was Livestream, Ustream, and Justin TV. I think were the big players, and then Owned eventually popped up. But it seemed like Ustream tried to gear itself more towards real life stuff. Like they got, I think, NASA and shit to sign on for their stuff. I remember they were doing launches a long time ago. People thought that was really cool. I don't know what. I think Livestream had some celebs that would try to like stream like for 20 minutes and do random shit. And then Justin TV kind of started to orient itself towards gaming, which was strange considering it started off with a guy that just wanted to record his whole life, the Justin guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Xfire was there in the early days as well. I didn't do anything with Xfire. I don't know anything about that. So, but I think that's what Soda started on.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Yeah. Well, thank you again, dude. That was I think that was everything there. Like I just kind of wanted to hear your take on like how you deal with these problems and try to solve them. I'm gonna do better on that. I might actually I might like take more time, make a better effort, just like get back in gym soon, because I do miss it and I do enjoy it, and it was like some really potent me time, and just do a better job balancing. So I think if I like bring a more positive energy to the stream, that was, rather than I'm kind of falling for this kind of like the grind monkey mentality, just like I need to like just grind and cover all my time zones and just like be live as often as long as possible doing shit. If I'm almost kind of like a zombie like slogging through it, then that's definitely an issue. In fact, I even caught some days where I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off here. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, go on.
I even had some days where like, bro, I wake up, I feel like total shit. I I don't even feel like a human until I shower. Like sometimes you can wake up refreshed, but like I like it's like a really shitty like work day. I have to like wake up and I'm completely like I feel like I'm covered in like AIDS until I take a shower and like then I feel like decent even though I still have like some somewhat like red eyes or whatever. And then I don't know, I gotta like crank Red Bull or some kind of caffeine to like feel human at that point. And then I'm literally like I'm yawning in the first hour of being live.
Sure.
Like
Thanks
you,
for bringing that up.
like you right now.
Yeah. I
Um,
slept for 10 hours. Okay, I'm still waking up.
no, dude, I've been there.
I think it's really important to have something. I've stressed this in the past, although this might, I don't know if this is good advice. It might just be that I'm antisocial. I don't think I am, but like I think it's really good to have something that you can fall back on that makes you happy, that doesn't require another person, so that it's like a incredibly stable thing. So like for me, I really like music. Like no matter what's going on, especially like in the poorer, more fucked times of my life, no matter what's going on, I can always like play my keyboard, and nobody can really take that from me. Like music is never going to have a bad day or be grumpy with you or upset at something or traveling with something, right? Like so like if gym stuff is similar to you, like that's like a nice thing that like no matter what's going on, you can always just like chill there and nothing can stop that, or no, nobody can take that from you, or there's no reason why you can't have like that little place of solitude or whatever.
No, you're definitely right about that. And this is some things I've definitely said on stream before about my perspective on gym is, you know, that it's like a temple of self-improvement and that, you know, there's no such thing as a bad day when you go to gym because you went in an attempt to better yourself and, you know, further yourself towards your full potential, and, you know, and blah, 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 stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
and even if you have a bad day at the gym, a bad gym day is better than a no gym day. So yeah.
I can't imagine what a bad gym day would be.
Sometimes you go and you're like your lifts are shit for that day for whatever reason. You either didn't get enough sleep, you didn't eat well enough, or whatever. You like you should be putting up PRs, but you're not. But like even on those days, like at least you worked out instead of doing nothing, right?
You know, actually, it's funny because I feel like I have trouble like separating performance from like self-worth in a lot of things, but I've never had that issue in gym where if I do like quote unquote not lift better or not like, you know, make a PB on a day that I should be making like should be shattering plateaus, I'm just like, no, yeah, I'm probably not, you know, eating clean enough or getting enough sleep. There's usually always something I can fall back on and typically blame it on because usually it's like, you know, working out optimally usually comes in opposition of like streaming optimally. I don't know if like I can find it to like kind of bridge together. I always find it like in opposites essentially. And I never had that issue actually where I feel like I'm like I've had a bad day. I've always had a good day. Cool. I don't know, like maybe it's because like I've always like because I've worked, you know, I'll come stream on a post workout buzz and I feel great. I always feel great. Now the side effect is I end up eating a lot on stream. Like when I was like, you know, caking hard and I was doing about 2,800 calories a day on days I would go gym. Like I would do lower calorie intake on you know, non-gym days, but like gym days and I come live and I stream, you know, typically I've only had 2 of the 4 to 5 meals I would eat at that time daily. So it was like I end up eating like essentially like every hour because I'd be like starving, dude. I get done to gym and I have the smoothie to chug down, and then like an hour later I'm hungry, and then an hour later I'm hungry again, and then an hour later I'm hungry again. But I have to kind of like wind down to like not have like a calorie excess before I go pass out for sleeping later on that day. So no, 2,800 calories in one day, not one meal. So I mean, you can probably go to your favorite fast restaurant and probably easily achieve 2,800 calories in one meal if you really wanted to.
Damn, maybe you can chill.
I don't think it's that
I have a hard
hard.
time putting 1,000 calories away for a meal. 2,800 calories in a single meal.
If I had to guess, you're okay. Like okay, so like
maybe if I were to go to a bakery, I could do it. Eat like 20 croissants or some shit.
Okay. So like, if I recall correctly, like a double quarter pounder meal is like 1,600 calories. So like, I'm not saying it would be fun to eat as much food at one time here, but you know, you do double quarter pounder, large fry. I don't know, like what, 10 nuggets.
I don't know if I could actually finish a double quarter pounder with cheese, like the whole burger, and I'm pretty sure that the burger on its own is around like 700 calories. That double quarter pounder.
Well, it's really the fries. The fries are the real.
Yeah, if you want to go like, if you want to cheat and do like massive fucking carbs, like I could probably eat over 1,000 calories in French fries.
Yeah,
or I could probably eat like if I go to a bakery and I'm getting like bread, like croissants, I could probably do it there, maybe. Yeah, but because like I think a single croissant is like 350 calories or some shit. So
Yeah, it's crazy, man. The now we're pivoting topics now. I like this right here. The man, whenever I was doing it, the one thing I really had to let go actually was cereal because I saw how.
Oh yeah, I
Dude,
dumped that shit like years ago.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah, you have to. Well, the problem is for me is it was a childhood staple because Omega Lol, American children knowing how to cook anything.
Yeah, well, when you wake up and you eat cereal, yeah, it's part of your day. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not just wake up. It was wake up. It was man.
Sometimes before bed.
Oh, it was everything, dude. Get home from school, boom, hitting the cereal bowl right away, dude. Every time.
And it's good as fuck too. Cereal is fucking awesome, but I haven't eaten cereal in years. It's so bad. It's such a waste of calories and
It is. It is so dense in carbs and so minimal in nutrition that it's such an expensive.
sugary as fuck.
Well, to be fair, all the good ones are, but you can definitely you can get around that. But like, who the fuck's eating cereal for the convenience and not the fucking taste of it, right? Like, that's the problem there. So in my head, all right. So here's how I worked out here. I had to ditch cereal pretty much by 2017. Whenever I started doing macros and realized how expensive of an ask they are. And the issue there is that like, okay, if you can get a cereal that is low in sugar, high in protein, high in fiber, and low in carbs, then you're good. But the problem is there.
Have you had those before?
What, the cereals that do that?
I think there are cereals that are like that are high like in protein and fiber, low in sugar. But oh man, it's like I don't even know how to, like, when you eat into them, it feels like you're eating like dried bread crumbs.
No, it feels like you're eating a styrofoam box, dude. It's just like,
yeah, it's like fuck. I wonder if I can find some of these like Kellogg's. Some of the Kellogg's like healthy cereals like taste pretty good. I never checked like their nutrition stuff, or like Raisin Bran is like okay, but
watch out. Okay, you brought up the exact one that people fall for the trap. Believe it or not, Raisin Bran is loaded in added sugar. It's actually one of the biggest offenders.
that wouldn't surprise me. I'm sure it has some added things that make it a little bit better than normal
sugar.
But even
people
people
think it's healthy, but the thing is, it's comically so high in added sugar to make it taste quote unquote, I guess how people want it to taste. Yeah, passable. Hit the bliss point. Yeah, it's really,
I'm thinking like
really bad.
Have you ever tried cereals like? Have you ever tried Fiber One before?
I haven't. No, I know you talked about Doxy before. Wait, so
that's one that like I bought because I was like, okay, you know what? Because I think I checked this. I was like, this is actually like looks like it has like some decent shit in it. And I tried to buy like here, I'll link it to you. I don't know if you ever tried this before. Oh god, it's so bad. I couldn't do it. I like 2 bowls of this and I threw the rest of it away. Like I can't do this. I can't do it.
Baby, Fiber One, what you mean, baby? Oh my god, dude. No, okay, so the thing I did was, all right, so I tried really hard, right? I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna get a cereal that is okay, so it's gonna be high in carbs. There's no really way around that due to the nature of how cereal is. But I can find one that is the best in protein, loaded in fiber, and minimal in sugar. And I can get carried if I put like maybe like a peanut butter flavored protein powder in my cereal milk, and then let that kind of be my clutch to make it like as nutritionally optimal as possible. And even then, dude, when I was doing the macros to get the carbs intact, it's bad, man. Like mashed potatoes and cereal, they are so bloated in carbs that it was just like I couldn't justify it. I'd have to cut carbs out of almost every meal essentially to justify a balance with the existence of cereal in my daily intake. It's just so expensive that I couldn't justify it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Yeah,
I
just
not
don't
worth it.
Because fuck that shit.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean I don't love it though. Obviously, like I said, I was telling you before here, I was as a kid, I hope things have gotten better now for American children at this point. Cause like as a kid, dude, I never knew that, like, I didn't even know that bad food existed, dude. I didn't even know that there was like a thing like, like I would do like, 4 cans of Sprite a day. Didn't give a shit at all. Didn't even know that, soda was bad for you. Didn't know that I needed water. Didn't know what purpose water had. I thought water was a low tier juice.
How old are you again?
30.
We grew up, dude.
Yeah.
We grew up with the motherfucking food pyramid. You remember that shit?
Dude, right? It's so... The food pyramid.
It's so bad. Oh my god. What was
comical.
it supposed to be, like 8 servings of bread per day was like the considered like healthy for get? It was so stupid. Oh my
Dude,
god.
even crazier is you think about the fact that the food pyramid didn't get replaced with the dinner plate from Michelle Obama until what, 2010? Like, dude, like that, like it's not even a decade old, the replacement here. Like, food pyramid was still relevant like 10 years ago.
It was so. I wonder if I can even find like an old picture of this. Oh my god, it was so fucking horrible.
Oh my god, yeah, it's terrible, dude. It's terrible. I think I found one here. Wait, this is wait. Yeah, I think I got you right here.
Oh fuck, I can't tell how many of these are old or new.
Yeah, this one might be modified, but this one looks pretty Pepega to me.
I remember looking at this shit and I couldn't even tell how you could eat this much in a day. Bread, cereal, rice, and pasta, 6 to 11 servings per day. What the fuck? How do you even eat that much? Vegetable group, 3 to 5 servings. Fruit group, 2 to 4 servings. Damn, yeah, I don't know. Holy fuck. What the fuck?
Yeah, this is like laughably bad here. There's also the fact that what was it? This is also the time whenever like fat was demonized, right? Like all fat, like an effort to like.
Well, this was because back in our day, I don't know if this was what the science said or if this was just the popular shit I heard. Eating cholesterol gives you cholesterol, which is not true, and eating fat makes you fat, which is also not true. Those are like the two, like, so like there were like a lot of like low. I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Weren't there like low fat, high carb diets back in the day? Didn't people do this shit? Like there was like a lot of like really dumb shit that was like passed around as like conventional like health advice and stuff. It was so horrible. Holy fuck.
Yeah, don't forget the part here, by the way, that the I believe starting in the late 80s, early 90s, they demonized fat, but it was an effort to pivot away from actually shaming the real thing, which was sugar.
Sugar, yeah, I heard that like sugar lobbies and stuff would push for people to.
Oh yeah, well, because you know, cause what you saw was again in the, I believe in the late 80s here, you saw the introduction of fat-free products. You saw the
yes, that was a huge. I don't think I see that as much anymore, but that used to be huge.
Yeah, reduced fat Oreos, reduced fat XYZ, and you're just like, okay, well, damn, well, how come reduced fat Oreos
still have the same amount of calories, or
yeah, and you find out that they just you know, they just freaking add in a fuckload more sugar to minimize to mask the taste of whatever they do to chemically engineer it to be lowered fat. You know, totally fine, by the way. Just oh my god, Omega Lol. I mean, I'm asking a really like a K-Kona question here. Like, does like fat-free and reduced fat foods, do these even exist outside USA? This is only like a USA thing, or do other, like, is our FDA still comically inadequate that they can just like get away with that kind of shit, or do other regions have like higher regulations to like not have that kind of stuff happen here?
Well, so one, I don't know. Two, I don't think the FDA was the fault of like reduced fat stuff, right? The FDA is just supposed to make sure like food is like safe for not killing you or some shit. I don't think it like regulates our diets. To be fair to the FDA.
Okay, I would say you're right. You're fair. That's a fair point. However, they are 100% like tied to Coca-Cola and Nestle at this point now.
The FDA, really?
Oh, dude, yeah, you need to look into that. Yeah, Nestle, particularly PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and Nestle, or the parent company that owns Nestle, 100%, dude. The things they have gotten away with, and I hate to go into like an anecdotal Andy here, but I don't have the citation for me offhand here, but things like how Coke Zero, for example, can exist, where it's defined on the nutrition facts label as mandated by the FDA here that Coke Zero has 0 calories, is because there's a rule that you can, if your beverage has under 5 calories, it can be round down to 0 conveniently, or whatever.
Yeah, that's like that with what's that sugar substitute? I want to say Sparta, but I know this is what it's called. Splenda? Is that?
Maybe Splenda, yeah.
Isn't it similar with that, where like it says 0 calorie, but technically it's got some low amount of calories? Also, I thought it was like under 30 calories they can say 0 or something. It might be 5 though, I don't remember. But yeah, I've heard of this before. That
comes to mind. The hesitation for the nutrition facts labels to disclose how much added sugar is in everything. For example, ragu pasta sauce has a fuckload of added sugar. Campbell's tomato soup has a fuckload of added sugar. And trust me, there have been lobbies to continue to stall that as long as possible, because there's been a lot of pushback this last decade of childhood obesity to finally have that be disclosed to everyone when they're shopping for products.
Something that I think would be interesting to list. I didn't know this existed until I think 2 years ago, maybe even 1 year ago. Have you ever heard of the glycemic index?
Oh, that rings a bell to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think it's basically like when you eat a food, like how does this impact your blood sugar? I didn't know that that shit even fucking existed. And I think it would be interesting to list on most foods. Like, what is the glycemic index of this food? Like, how will this affect your blood sugar if you eat it? It's crazy to me that so many people have diabetes in this country today, and we actually don't like.
So are you saying
that's
that
not
the,
like
the cool thing here is that this should be like open knowledge? It should be like more transparent to be able to find in the supermarket to know like
yeah,
what.
the glycemic index. I feel like it should be listed on like all foods. It seems like a pretty useful way of like figuring out like how is this going to impact my blood sugar? I don't know. I think it's
Yeah, yeah, no,
Or, I'm sorry, it's glycemic load, maybe not index or whatever. But
yeah, no, I think that yeah, I'm looking at this right now. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, this looks cool.
mm-hmm.
I would do only diabetics have to worry about this kind of thing, or is this like another?
No, I think in general, fuck, I'm pretty sure in general you probably don't want like huge spikes in your blood sugar, because it's kind of bad for you, or it'll put you into like pre-diabetic state or whatever. Like you'll work your way towards that. A lot of people, number of people with diabetes in the U.S., 10% of the population has diabetes. Most of that, like 90% of that, being type 2. And a lot of people don't know this, but type 2 diabetes knocks like about 9 years off your lifespan. It's pretty extreme.
You're not
So
wrong
I think
there.
it's worth it for almost everybody to pay attention to it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that. I would say definitely get woke on that. Because I imagine that if like for example, if you've gone on challenge like eating like shit. I'm sorry, I don't mean to typecast everyone in here who's like if you're USA and you know you just like eat whatever, quote unquote. You like you eat fast food whenever you want. You're you know every meal is going to be like a decently tasting meal where you're not really concerned about the nutritional value of what you're eating here. I feel like if you do that carelessly until like age 35, you're probably already kind of pre-fucked. Because I don't know, you don't exercise, you're not working out, you've been eating like shit for decades on end. Are you going to really be able to commit to a lifestyle change that's going to like deter you from you might get woke to like slow down the inevitability of probably becoming pre-diabetic or diabetic, but like you know if you can start being mentally aware of that stuff earlier on, you're kind of probably way better off from preventing that kind of thing happening to you.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, that might be kind of like a high road Andy thing that I'm saying right now, but I don't know, whenever a doctor tells me I'm perfectly healthy and I'm like, it's like, yeah, I got like a visible gut and I'm pretty fat, I should probably like give more fucks. The doctor will just tell you, yeah, you're fine. I don't know, it's like I get a little worried about that.
That actually triggered me when I went to the hospital. I don't remember. I went a long time ago. What did I go for? Fuck, I had to go in for a checkup for something. I went in for something. I don't remember why. But I mentioned something about how like I was worried about something because I felt like I was like fairly fat, and he was like, "Oh no, actually, like your weight is like right in the middle of like the BMI or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, dude, look at my fucking stomach. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm weak as fuck.
Yeah, they'll
dude.
just tell you,
Okay?
yeah.
I got a big tummy here. Don't tell me that I'm not getting a little fat, motherfucker." Oh shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got a rude awakening ahead of me here. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna keep on now. I'm gonna tell the world. I'm gonna tell the world right now how much I weigh, just so that I can have my victory
accountable.
my victory lap when I get. Oh, trust me, dude. I'm ecstatic to get back in the gym. That's the one thing I'm missing the most here. I actually have like lumbar what's the word here? Lumbar strain. Lumbar strain. Yeah, is that the right area? The area of the lower back or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. I got like strain there, dude. Like I just to give you an idea, dude. I've been in this fucking chair for so long, the last like 50 plus days, that like I the other day, like I told my girlfriend, like, look, walk on my back. Like I'm sure that helps in some cases here, but like I literally had her like just like I laid flat on the floor and had her just like walk on my back because I need that so bad, dude. I need someone just like I wanted to like drop kick me while I was on the floor, dude, because I was like I needed that to fix my back, dude. It was crazy.
Damn.
But all right, so the thing
I'm gonna
is
be
here,
hardcore like anecdote Andy here, and I don't know if this applies to anybody, but anytime I've ever had like back pain or like twinges or like annoying shit in my life, if I am going to the gym regularly and I deadlift, that shit goes away 100% for me. I don't know if that's the same for like everybody, but like it helps so much. Dude, my back feels so much better when I'm like actively deadlifting. It's like it's crazy how much of a difference it makes. Holy fuck.
bro, you deadlift, bro? What's your max, bro?
Yeah. Not much.
bro, what's your
Hey guys.
I'm
Who's that?
gonna podcast
hello?
right now. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
what's wrong? She can't say hi? Oh, tell her I said hi.
It's my mom. She's wait, what? What, my keys? Yeah. They're by the bed. Look on the left side. They're on the rack. Sorry,
Wait, how old is your mom?
52.
Oh, she sounds very young. I thought that was your girlfriend. Holy shit.
No, she's 52. That's my mom comes on the stream all the time actually. My child loves it. Okay, all right, I'll see you later. Okay, she already ran off. Yeah, she came in and grabbed my car real quick. She needs my car to like do something. What was I gonna say again, dude? Oh right, my weight. Yeah, so when I was working out, bro, I was like between 197 and 203. For EU folks pounds. I was 197 pounds, 203 pounds. Depending on the amount of muscle I had, it kind of fluctuated, right? Because like you can't use the weight as like your be all and all because muscle weighs more, etc. Right? The right now though, okay, I haven't even weighed myself since because I'm sure it's all just bad news currently. But as of like over 2 weeks ago, I was 207 pounds, which is the heaviest I've ever been before. So not doing good. I don't want to wait anymore. I already know it's bad because I haven't been eating clean at all here. But when I get back in gym, boys, I cannot wait to thrive and lose the dad bod and get the man boobs back. Fill out my training bra and fucking get this bodacious pump, and then start getting these like destiny numbers whenever I do my deadlifts.
Yeah. What is Trihex's height? I think Trihex is like 5'8", aren't you?
Yeah, 5'8", or I don't know. Apparently you're 5'8", but you're a little bit taller than me, so maybe I'm only 5'7". I don't know.
Shit, okay.
I don't know. I thought I was 5'8", but I don't know. I don't know anymore. I have to. Either way, we're both sub 6 foot, so we're already in the manlet category, so we're already fucked. Okay. Both of our girlfriends, obviously, cheat on us and go,
looking to upgrade ASAP.
Yeah, of course, obviously, right? Like, because if we're not 6 foot, why bother? Like, irrelevant of our mental capacities and our charismatic personalities and demeanors and our, all the great things that make us who we are and unique and everything else here.
5'8" is horrible too because we can't even go to our short guys and complain because they tell us we're too tall for them and that we don't even deserve it. So
wait. Have you actually been there before?
No, but I do know that like people on that subreddit, like I've read posts there, but like they'll complain. Like if 5'8" guys show up to complain about being short, they'll be like, dude, like you guys, like this is bullshit. Like you don't know what it's like to be like 5'2".
To be fair, there's a huge gap between being like 5'8" and being like 5'3".
Yeah, no, I agree. At 5'8", the only girls that are missing you are the ones that are like, I want a guy that's like really tall. Like, and that's like a very small amount of girls. But at like 5'2", 5'4", you're starting to hit areas where like girls are just like, oh, he's pretty short. Yeah.
Actually, no. Can we talk about this? Actually, this is actually a topic I think is pretty cool to talk about. Fucking height. I'm sorry, 1 second. Sorry, that was my Wowie in chat. That was my dog attacking the predator coming in. My cousin Rena. They're helping my grandmother do some shit. Okay, let's talk about heightism, dude. We've never talked about this on stream actually. What do you know about it? Because I only know this is like a heightism, like as like an ism, like racism here is like the idea that like you get treated differently because of your height. Is that correct? Is that how you would define it?
Yeah, sure. Height and looks are both pretty important if you fall very far outside the norm.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just it's unfortunate because it's something beyond your control, right? It's not anything you can really like change the perception of. It's just like a thing that you have to like live with because of genetics, right?
Yep.
And it's just crazy that like the spectrum of like I guess like what's the lowest? What is the lowest height you can have to be defined as like average? What, 5'6"?
I'd say 5'6" is probably pushing it, but around there, 5'6", 5'7".
Okay.
Probably.
Right. And then but at the same time here though, it's really weird because I know that the perception of beauty changes, over time. Obviously what was considered, at one point and even as far back as like 400 years ago, fat was considered or plus size was considered beautiful because it was such a rarity. You had to be like, pretty upper class to even be able to consume enough food to actually maintain fatness to be plus size and chubby and everything else, right?
Sure.
Back in the time,
pale skin was considered more beautiful and whatnot.
Yeah. So but here we are now though, where in modern times it seems so weird where it's like a couple of inches, and forgive me EU for using our stupid system. I don't know how the other one works. It's in terms of context of what I'm trying to convert the math to. But like if you're like 6 foot you know, you're like the awesome height, right? But between 6 foot and like 6'4", you're like considered like charismatic, powerful alpha male, lead wolf pack, right?
I think it's even like, I think it's a little more narrow than that, but yeah, it's like anywhere from like 5'11" to probably like 6'1", 6'2", 6'4" is getting pretty tall. That's getting like pretty up there.
Well,
I think. But, yeah.
Okay, so I can agree with you there because I know for sure when you get above 6'5", you're now in territory where you're like alarmingly tall because like
6'5" is pretty alarmingly tall, I think. But
well,
yeah.
because hey, I'll bring up an example here. I mean, like Dr. Disrespect is like he's what 6'7", like he's like
Yeah, he's freakish.
yeah. I was talking at the TwitchCon party last year. I was like, dude, that guy is like towering everyone. Like whether you want to or not, you're getting all the attention because of your extreme height. So, and I wonder, you know, and the thing I hear it generally is that the perception is like, you know, it's either like when you're that tall, it's like you're too tall, you're too far removed, and people, and some perception may be that it's like alarming or intimidating, if you will here. And by comparison, if you're under the average, you know, you might get considered the, I don't know, I guess like fragile or non-masculine or whatever it could be perceived as far as like relevant to first impression or dating and things like that. And what I wanted to go into here is have you had it, okay, I guess yeah, I don't know where we're going with this topic right now, but that was interesting how you brought it up here. Do you feel that things have gotten better in your lifetime with heightism? Like, because
I don't think I've ever been. I genuinely at 5'8", I don't feel like I've ever had trouble in my life because of my height. I just don't think that girls like guys on the internet seem to freak out. Like on the internet, I didn't even know that heightism was like a real thing until I got to the internet. When like people freak the fuck out if they're not like 6 feet tall, but I don't think I've ever like lost a chick in real life because I'm too short or something like that. Maybe on Tinder where girls will specifically say like, this is my height, I'm not interested, you're not tall or something. But like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I had like a couple girlfriends before I ever discovered the internet, and I don't know, I never felt like my height was like a big deal until I came to the internet and people were like, oh, if you're like less than 6'1", you're a fucking child or whatever.
Manlet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, or like things like wrist sizes or like skull shape or whatever. Like, yeah, these are things I've never heard of except for like an info.
Oh my god, dude, the skull shape. I didn't even think. Oh my god, dude. Can we, I'm gonna go to hell, dude. But can we talk? Okay, minor derail here, but like the kids that have them alien heads, you know, like the alien, like James Cameron alien, like they got the mole long ass back of the head. I got because they came out the vagina wrong or whatever. Whenever they.
What the fuck are you talking about? Wait, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, chat, help me out. Chat, help me out.
Come out of the vagina wrong, so you get fucked up head.
I don't know, dude. I don't know, bro. Like if you come out head first, apparently, like, you know, your skull, like, is this like some kind of Mississippi science or something like that? Is this not a real thing? Like when you get delivered out the womb, if you come out the wrong way, like the head could be shaped a certain way because of the vaginal opening whenever you're coming out. No.
I don't know.
Dude, I'm getting question mark. God damn it, dude. Fuck. I might have gotten exposed right now. You never heard of? Okay, let me think. Alien head kids. How the fuck? What do I Google here, dude? Fuck. I can't find. Bro, I can't find this shit. I'm going to hell, dude. Okay. I can't even do. I'm making fun of kids now. Fuck. Oh my god, dude. No. Bro, someone give me some citation here, please. I can't find shit, dude. Okay, whatever. I'm rotting in hell.
I do know that like babies' skulls aren't fully formed when they come out of the womb. Like there are soft spots on the baby's head that you're never supposed to touch because the skull hasn't like fully formed yet. But I've never heard of them becoming like deformed because of like a birth or whatever.
Okay, there's like no, okay, whatever. I'm gonna take the L here. I don't even want to show pictures of this topic because I'm just gonna like roast some kids now. But but point is, yeah, okay. There's some kids who got made fun of in my elementary school because they had like a really awkward head shape. Unfortunate, but you know, nothing they can really do about it. Obviously, I didn't engage this personally, but I recall kids doing this kind of thing. Relevant to me though with heightism here, like you, I never actually gave any serious consideration to how tall I was until I became known. Until I was like, you know, trihex the person, the celebrity or whatever. It wasn't because then like what I saw happen a lot to me was like people would meet up with me or people would meet me at like, you know, TwitchCon 1 or whatever, and dude, it happened a lot, bro. It'd be like, oh hey trihex, oh wow, I thought you'd be taller in person, and it's like,
yeah,
that'd be like their opening line, dude. They just like word vomit right out the way, and just like they can't help it because they're being, I guess, starstruck or whatever. But they just like throw it at me. I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry that I let you down. That I chose my height, obviously, or something. I don't know. Yeah, it was. It was kind of awkward. And then but I was also aware here that like, I caught myself a lot. Like honestly, I would say like Miyu and Lakari are the ones I see that were like who are like our, and I guess Tyler 1 also our height, but like a lot of the known.
Whoa. Hey, let's not get carried away. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I mean, 6'5", 6'4" for Tyler 1, you know, and 5'8" for us. It's a pretty close thing, you know what I mean? Like it's the same, you know, within a foot of each other.
Okay.
But no, though everyone else is tall though. Like, you know, I'm fucking Cutie Pie is tall, and Disrespect is tall. Everyone's tall. Everyone's like taller than me at least.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just like, man. I feel at TwitchCon I'm looking up at a lot of people here. I don't know if it's because like maybe it's a lot of Europeans or whatever, maybe. But I was just like, all right, I'm gonna let this not get to me, I guess, because it'd be trivial to let heightism be a legitimized source of insecurity when I don't have any power over that.
Sure. I mean, it's still gonna be a source of insecurity, right? Even if you don't have power over it.
Yeah, I can just try not to let it get to me here. Just go to the gym, get fit as fuck, and then just use my I guess my Napoleon complex to like compensate for that somehow or whatever.
Sure.
Actually, is it true that Napoleon wasn't actually short? Or
he either was like slightly below average, or he might have even been average height, and I thought it was just propaganda or whatever.
Could have been, yeah. I heard that at some point here that actually that. Also, obviously, my friend of the Napoleon complex concept here, but I recall hearing recently that Napoleon actually was not short. So, Napoleon was short by modern standards, but average for that time. Oh, so we've gotten taller over the last several. Whatever.
I'm pretty sure we have it. I think that just has more to do with like nutrition and stuff. Like your height can be pretty severely limited based on.
You know what? That is true, because when you really break the whole thing down here, do you know it's crazy that exercise was actually I don't know if I'll use the term demonized, but was like not advised to be done until like relatively recently. Like I want to say like this could be either a post World War I or post World War II thing where like exercise became like oh hey, you should do it. Because you go back pretty far here, and it's like there was, I mean, I want to say what until the 50s cigarettes were considered healthy, right? There's some crazy health perceptions that were around even just like a little over half a century ago. So
sure.
Yeah, I remember hearing. Okay, which one had the draft? I'm sorry here. I'm kind of doing some history lessons here, but like which did both world wars have a U.S. draft, or was it only World War like one?
It must have been both, right? I know at the very least World War II did, but it must have been both, right?
I think so. Well, for the I recall here for one of those drafts, they actually had they had to decline a lot of the men they wanted because they were not deemed physically healthy and fit enough. And after that became was when there was like a raised awareness to then like say, okay, let's try exercise and start advising everyone to exercise in order to like have like a fitness revolution so we can like do better on the next time, I guess. So yeah. Nice. Forgive me, I'm kind of throwing you like a lack of citation on all the stuff here, but I remember hearing this was pretty interesting in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that failed miserably. Yeah, no, you're not wrong there, dude. It definitely did.
Wait, who? What?
Oh, the idea that we had a fitness revolution and that the average American would be fit or physically fit and able, whereas right now it's like, dude, I wish I knew. Right now our stats are so bad, dude. Like we have is it a third of U.S. adults are obese? And
something like that, and like 80% are overweight or something. Yeah,
80% are overweight, and like a fifth of U.S. children are obese now. Like there's like a
that's pretty huge, yeah. Germany and the UK are like right on the heels of the US as well, and then every other European country is catching up too. It's pretty crazy. Obesity is kind of like, it's a pretty big like first world problem. Asian countries seem to not have, or like Southeast Asian like seems to not have as much of an issue with this. I'm not sure why, but even some of those countries are starting to like on their way to starting to get fat as well. I think Sweden might have been the first country in the world for like 1 or 2 years to like pause the like getting fatter thing. But yeah. Oh yeah, in Japan apparently. I thought I remember reading in Japan, you actually I don't know if it's a punishment at work or for your health insurance, but like if you're too fat, like they actually like measure your waist size like every year or whatever, and you can get penalized or taxed or something for being too fat or something.
Wait, where's this at? Wait, what country
In
get penalized?
Japan, I think.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, we can't even like I want to say, wasn't there like a proposed like soda tax in New York City that got like shot down really quickly? We can't even like.
Oh
tax...
yeah, like the sugar.
Yeah.
Either someplace in the U.S. or in the U.K. somewhere they did this. They did this tax, and they found out the consumption of these products was reduced like pretty insanely.
Yeah, it actually worked. Well, at least it worked for its intended goal anyway. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is true for cigarettes too, right? Because I recall during the Obama's era, there was a pretty huge spike on cigarettes for taxes, right? Like the price of a cigarette pack was below 5 and went up to over 6, sometimes 7 in some areas, and like cigarette smoking like went down a fuck ton.
Oh god, I remember my grandma going to the military base, Offutt Air Force Base, and because you don't pay sales tax if you go to the BX, the Base Exchange in America, and she would buy those cartons of the cigarettes. Oh yeah, for like $20 or some shit. Ooh.
So okay, actually, wait, real talk here. I know I know we're derailing a derail right now, but this is actually a really good topic, bro. The one thing I worry about, in a hypothetical world where like Andrew Yang wins and we have like UBI, Universal Basic Income, is like the cigarette smokers, dude. Can you imagine getting $1,000 no matter what, and like how that that will literally enable people to like go carton stupid? I would imagine, like. You would think, or do you think that, or my projecting this incorrectly for cigarette smokers?
I don't know.
And tobacco product consumers.
It's kind of like, this is kind of the argument for like restricting what people can spend their stuff on rather than just like making it for anything. Yeah, I don't know how that would impact like certain habits. Or like imagine you have like a heroin addict on the street that's getting like $1,000 UBI. Like what's he going to spend his money on? I'm not sure. But like, will he get a house and turn his life around and everything because he's got a steady stream of income, or will all of that money be going towards like addictive behavior? I don't know.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I think this is very much like a fringe example. Like, I don't think this is gonna. I think that like hypothetically, if UBI was implemented strategically here, that it would solve, or it would at least band-aid more problems than it would cause problems. This might be the one negative, the most blatant negative I can think of here, of just like ultimately enabling that of like questionable or bad habits. But who am I, the government, to say that it's a bad habit for you to smoke cigarettes, other than like I said, the projected cost of healthcare to treat your.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that's bad, right? It causes damage to you, damage to your family. Secondhand smoke causes damage to the people around you. We have to pay for it in the forms of healthcare subsidies and shit. Like, yeah, I mean, fuck, we could say smoking is bad.
No, you're definitely right that. You ever been to a doctor and like have them ask you if you smoke or anything, and then you like, I feel like it's kind of like whenever you get pulled over by a police officer and it's like, have you ever been arrested before? Have you ever been on probation before? Have you ever been If you answer yes to any of that, like the whole atmosphere changes. Like, oh, okay, yeah, you've said yes to one of my questions here. I'm gonna have to.
I don't know. When I go to the doctor, I don't think. I mean, it's possible it could just be like a shitty doctor that would judge you for that. But I think generally you should probably be like, they're not gonna like bust you, like arrest you for some shit. Like if a doctor asks
not
me
arrest,
questions,
just like I don't know. I would just imagine that like. So for example, right? Let's say you have like pneumonia and you need to like, I don't know, get cured or whatever, right? Or you need to like get your symptoms treated or whatever here. But you're an active smoker. Like, I don't know, would a doctor be like, God damn it, dude, you stupid fucking bitch. Why the fuck do you smoke? You're making this complicated right now. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, you're fucked anyway because you're black, right? Like doctors already like historically prescribe less like painkillers and shit to black people because they think you've got a higher chance of being an addict. Have you ever heard this before?
No, dude,
You've never heard this before?
No.
So for black people and women, when you go to the hospital, if you complain about like symptoms that they would normally prescribe painkillers for, even when you control for socioeconomic status and race of the doctor, black people and women are less likely to get painkillers prescribed to them than white men are.
Under the projection that they're like more likely to abuse and get addicted to the things, or like
whether they abuse it or they don't take you seriously or they think you have some African warrior pain tolerance. I don't know like what the hypothesis is.
Oh my god, African warrior. You have debated too many people at this point. Good lord.
Maybe I don't know the reason, but it's a real thing. It's a true thing.
Stephen Warrior Gene Bonnell. Am I saying right? Is it Bonnell? Bonnell?
That's what they say, dude.
Fucking
but
warrior
it's
gene.
This is also something that when it comes to like fat acceptance movements or whatever, people call it fat acceptance. I don't think people think that you should like accept people for being fat, but it's one of those issues where like a fat person might go to a doctor and out of nowhere maybe like they feel like their arm is like numbing up, like their left arm is getting numb, or some probably bad symptoms like coming up where they feel like something's not right and they go to a hospital. And a lot of doctors might write off a fat person immediately. It's like, oh, well, you're fat. You probably just slept on it wrong. Like you'll be okay. Where like you might be getting symptoms written off because of like the fact that you're fat or because you're a woman or because you're black, whatever. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
definitely that. There's actually some oh man, I feel like we were on a topic. I minorly derailed. I forgot what we were talking about now. It was something about the World War II draft thing, but whatever. Fuck it, dude.
The fitness revolution.
Fuck it, dude. Well, it's fucked anyway. You're right. It's a worldwide thing. I have heard that oh fuck, dude. I have heard that the Middle East is also catching up too. Like someone said in your chat earlier about that, because the next lucrative draw for these like multinational food chains, McDonald's, KFC, Domino's, etc., right, is the Middle East now. Dude, like I saw like a thing about how like Domino's is like exploding in I forget what country it was, dude, but like it's in one of these countries in the Middle East where there's like where I believe it's in the proximity of Saudi Arabia, but it's an area where like families can't do anything. Like individuals can't do anything. You have to be with the family. Like you can't like go into a mall unless you are with a family. Like it's got to be
Might
family
be
time.
women, I think. Generally in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if they change this, but generally as a woman, you're not allowed to go somewhere if you're not accompanied by a man. I think.
Yeah.
That's in Saudi Arabia, right, guys? I'm pretty sure you can't go to a mall.
That's correct. Yeah, and women couldn't drive until last year. Like that was a big thing that happened just this year or last year. But yeah, no, it's like a huge emphasis on like privacy, and like some things like the McDonald's have like family curtains where like there's not like a table, like it's a booth with a curtain for family time. Like it's that private or whatever. Well, anyways, the point is like there's no recreational activity you can do other than like go eat. So like essentially these like food places become like your mall, your nightclub, and like any stimulant of social gathering, if you would imagine. So it's all very lucrative for these like food companies to come out there and just like give their invasion of sugar and butter and fat and give them this like absolute bliss point perfected engineered food and get them addicted and get them fat and get them wanting more and more and more. And so they're blowing up right now in the Middle East region at this point. So it doesn't surprise that they're also getting fat like you mentioned earlier here.
Nice.
It's a. What do you perceive as like the end point here? Like when do things change? I think that things are getting better now. I think that we have more of an advocacy now for having a more transparent, natural ingredient foods. But is there a breaking point, do you think, or do you think
breaking point for like when we were eating too much sugary shit, or what do you mean?
Yeah, a breaking point where people were like, it's an epidemic. Like there's like a.
I think we're already at epidemic levels, like pretty easily. Like.
You're not wrong, because the life expectancy is already going down, and I think is it our generation is the first generation that's going to be projected to actually live shorter than our previous generation.
Yeah, although I'm not sure if that's because of dietary shit or because of people killing themselves and overdosing on like opioids and shit.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit. I think we talked about that on an earlier podcast, but yeah, it's not good right now. It's not good. Now, with that in mind here, you brought it back.
Also, one thing a lot of people don't realize real quick, being fat in and of itself can actually put you at risk for certain things. Like for instance, like for diabetes, I didn't know this until I started reading this, but like just being fat makes you more likely to develop like insulin resistance and develop diabetes. It's not just because like, oh, well, of course, when you're fat, it's because you're eating like foods high in sugar, et cetera. No. Like just being overweight, like elevates you for risk of these types of things. Yeah. Which is crazy. I didn't know that. I always assumed that like, oh, well, of course it's because fat people eat sugary foods and that's why they're at a higher risk for it. But it's not. It's just being fat, all else equal to like a non-fat person. You're like at an elevated risk for these things.
Yeah, not to mention like just in general, right? The problem with being fat is that when you're fat, your heart has to like pump harder, right? To like move blood across more mass of your body. Is that correct?
Probably, yeah.
So something like that. So and ultimately, yeah, you're making your heart work harder to exist. So ultimately, you're just degrading your heart quicker to just ultimately lower your life expectancy, I would say.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though. I could be wrong on that. That's what I recall. How it kind of works on a very rough explanation. Which is also why tall people have it hard too. So like, you know,
really tall people.
Well, so for example, for Doc has he's very tall, so his heart has to probably pump a considerable amount more often than say like our hearts to do the same function. If we were assuming we were the same physicality and shape. So I've heard that too, actually. Um, but there was actually another thing here too, man. There was a part of that communication course I took in college when I told you way back when here. And then we can probably end this point if you want to, because we're already almost up on time.
Sure.
The perception of body types has like a preconceived subconscious conclusion. It's pretty interesting, actually. Like whenever you see like Brad Pitt like laughing while having. Say it again.
Are you talking about like the people that believe in like the ectomorph, like that type of shit?
Yeah. People who are like, genetically like larger or fatter, they come off as like they're perceived differently.
Okay, never mind. I thought you were talking about something different. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, where like if you saw like Brad Pitt like sipping coffee at a table and laughing, you would think one thing because he looks good and he's like chiseled out and everything else. You can see like exposed like muscle formation in the pectorals and things like that. And then you see like a fat person laughing while eating a pizza, you would think something different. Like, oh, they're just they're fat and they're jolly because they're fat, or I don't know, there's something like that. There's like I'm kind of wording it badly here, but I remember like this was like a pretty common thing, like the perception of one's body size X to what they're doing. Even if it's the same thing, you perceive different things. A skinny person eating pizza versus a fat person eating pizza, you think a different thing.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all. No, I hate to keep hitting you up with the racial things. I'm not trying to like dog whistle that I hate black people or anything. But an interesting study, I don't remember if I talked to you this about it. There was an interesting study about Republicans, or it might have been with everybody, but the findings were about Republicans that if you show like, if you give somebody a survey and ask them their opinions about welfare, you show them a picture of like a black family instead of showing them a picture of a white family, they tend to feel less good about welfare or welfare programs in general.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's and that goes back here from the damage from the beginning of the welfare queen myth that was proposed by Reagan, right? That's where all that began.
I don't know if Reagan proposed it or not, but a lot of conservatives echo that shit when I talk about it. Like, oh, well, like the reason why black people are so fucked is because welfare made them all reliant on it. It's like, well, what about white people? Why didn't they get reliant on welfare? It's the same welfare is available to everybody. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. It's BS. In fact, I'll even go further. Usually that's pretty easy to debunk when you just like try to make them like explain, well, why do you think welfare began? Why do you think that was like introduced in the first place?
Wait, what was it, because of white people or what? I don't know.
No, I wish I remembered the answer offhand here. I recall, I want to say it was something along the lines. It could be similar to income tax, where it was supposed to be like a 1-year solution. But then we just kind of got like complacent and didn't really fix it and just kind of kept it there.
Wasn't this part of a lot of this, like a part of like the FDR, like the New Deal shit? Doesn't anyone remember? I don't remember.
I don't remember offhand
how much welfare was introduced as a result of that, but
I don't want to misspeak on that one there, but fuck, I don't know offhand here. Okay. But no, what you're bringing up those of kind of a thing that I find pretty interesting here as far as like color theory goes, because did you ever hear about the study where I forget when was this done, because it's important to know the time frame. I think it was done in the mid 90s here, but there was like a study done where you had a group of like children who were like at oldest like 4 years old, right? And you would give them like dolls, and you'd ask them like which one's the good guy and which one's the bad guy. And these children of multiple races, including black and white and everything in between here, would all universally say that the darker skin tone of the doll was, the darker skinned dolls compared to the lighter skinned dolls were the bad guys. They asked deliberately vague questions where you can kind of formate whatever is going on here. And there was a study done here that showed like the depiction of media, and the problems were like a lot of these cartoons would often have like, for example, like Scar from Lion King, the enemy penguin from Penguin and the Pebble, the enemy wolf from Balto, Balto the wolf cartoon, et cetera. Typically these darker skin complexion, Do you
know something that's really interesting about these villains that I never considered before? One of my problems, one of the things I didn't like about the new Lion King movie was that Scar, like, you lost so much, like not having the hand gestures and stuff, right? One thing that I read I'd never even considered before was that some people say that a lot of those depictions of Disney villains were actually really homophobic. And that like a lot of the Disney villains that are like villains that use the hand gestures, they're actually just like very effeminate and almost like flamboyant or gay when in the way that you look at the characters, like how they act, they emote very much with their face, the way they move their hands.
Mhm.
That I think maybe even Jafar might have done this in Aladdin, and that Scar kind of does. And I'd never really looked at that before, and I kind of wonder now when I look at some of the characters, I'm like, do I associate like this guy is bad because he's gay and effeminate, and those are like the kind of like dastardly sinister movements that it's very interesting as contrasted to like Mufasa, who has like a deep powerful voice and is like very masculine and like very strong, and it's like, I don't know, that kind of makes me wonder. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But,
it's interesting because when you say that, I could say what comes to mind for me right away are two villains. Jafar, who I would think in the 90s, if we had modern YouTube infrastructure, you'd have like plenty of visual essays on like Jafar, a metrosexual. Let's dive in and see. There's like mannerisms and his like elaborate wardrobe and his like perfectly maintained facial hair and everything like that. And the other one would be the enemy rat from the Mouse Detective. Like he's
Hades in the Hercules movie as well.
Yeah. Also metrosexual, confirmed by the way, obviously.
Oh yeah, Ursula, who's almost like it's been so long, but she's like a butch lesbian almost, right? Like does she have like a really deep voice when she's like angry and evil and shit?
I don't know, but she had a monster bush. You know that bitch had a hairy fucking bush.
Wait, how the fuck do you know that?
I don't know. It was a shit post. I don't know. You said butch lesbians. I had to go with it. You gave me an alley.
Oh my god,
dude! You gave me that.
Damn.
Whoa, what you mean?
Oh my god!
I ain't shaming no one. Look, if you're female and you want to have armpit hair, I'm totally cool with that, dude. Who am I? Who am I to project? Freaking I don't know, modern or even particularly North American norms as far as like what is to be dictated about your body. You do what you want to do. I don't give a shit.
Does the one annoying guy in Mulan that like follows them around? Remember the guy that's like the chancellor's or the main guy's fucking
the messenger boy who goes to the emperor.
The messenger boy that's like always tattling and shit and writing shit up or whatever. Did he do gay stuff? I'm trying to remember. Was
he had a very high pitched voice. But
I don't know if that's like enough but
I don't know. Yeah, man, we are squad dubbing hard right now, dude. We are just like.
But I just remember because I was really irritated.
Man, if your balls didn't drop when you were 13, you a bitch.
Like, I was like really irritated by the Scar shit. That was probably one of the voices and characters I thought that was like the most ruined. And then I started to like Google around because I was curious what other people thought about it. And I stumbled on that article that was like, there's actually like a lot of the Disney cartoons, a lot of the stereotypically like bad villains. The way that you make a villain bad is you just make them super gay. You make them very effeminate. You make them very kind of girly. A lot of hand gestures.
You make them non-normal.
Non-masculine basically. And that's like the way to and that's the way to like signify that it's a villain. And I'm like, oh shit. And I never considered that before. And when I went back and I started looking at things, like, oh damn, that's interesting.
No, you're definitely that's a very, very valid point there. I also agree with you.
The guy in Pocahontas. Somebody just linked me this picture of Radcliffe. Oh shit. Yeah. I didn't even know. Oh damn, it's crazy. Yeah, there was like a bathing scene in Mulan. That's what I'm trying to remember. There was like a bathing scene in Mulan where it seemed like the guy was supposed to be like super gay or whatever. But yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you swipe right to this on Tinder? On Grindr?
Jeez.
Oh my god. I need someone to Halloween costume this guy, please. This is like big dick energy all the way here. Like bow ties for your I don't know, like back bangs. I don't even call this shit, dude. The freaking just oh god, it's so good. Yeah. He's drowning in pussy or drowning in should I say bussy?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. No, your critiques here about the Lion King stuff is very, very valid though. I agree with you that Scar lost a lot of intensity for me from the 2019 adaptation, and while I didn't watch the 2019 Aladdin film, because I didn't look that good at all. It's in the trailer, so I didn't bother going to see it. The Jafar's voice revealed in the second trailer for that movie. I was like, man, dude, where did it go? Where's the intensity at, dude? It reminded me like of a flailing stale noodle. It kind of reminded me of the villain from Venom because he's also. I like that actor who the villain in the Venom 2018 movie, but like it's just it's to me it was very, very badly miscast. Oh, here we go. Another picture.
Sorry, yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy was supposed to be gay. Yeah.
Would you say would you say it's like a harmful
To
trope
show
or
that if,
stereotype
in order to
at this
show that
point?
someone is bad, they're gay. Yeah, that's probably not good. I would say.
Well, no. Well, I'm not asking you if you think they are gay, but do you think that this course correction has been? Do you think it's still a problem now, or has the course been corrected since then? If
I don't
believe
think
it.
you see it as often. The most recent one I can think of was fuck. This movie's probably super old actually. What's the James Bond that had the main character guy that was gay? He always plays like a German and like oh, I think he probably is German in all the
Mm,
Quentin Tarantino movies. Do you know what I'm talking about?
um,
Oh my god, this is a very famous actor.
fuck. You're talking about
Oh no, wait. Actually, I don't think Christopher Waltz. I don't think he was the main bad guy in that. Wasn't
yeah,
it?
I
It
don't,
was
I
a
don't
different
recall.
one, right?
I don't recall Waltz being in. Was he in it? Was he in a James Bond?
No. It was a different guy that plays those types of characters sometimes. I don't remember what. Oh, Javier Bardem. Wait, is this the guy? Oh fuck, stop.
Let me see here.
Was this the same guy that played in Doesn't this guy like normally play like off characters like that, or am I like making this up? I might be making this up. I don't remember.
Well, he's. Oh yeah, he's very handsome, so he gets a pass in my book.
Did he play the guy in No Country for Old Men? He did, right? Yeah. Okay. He looks a lot different. Holy shit. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
He just
couple of
weirdo
them.
bad guys. Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel bad for like people like I say bad, but it's like it's interesting to think about here. Like people like Danny Trejo, who just like his appearance kind of like you're kind of put in the box where he can only kind of be one type of person. Do you think?
A little bit, but I mean, like that happens, right?
Yeah.
Although the CGI does some amazing things these days.
Dude, you're not lying there, man. They have. Dude, have you seen God damn, dude, have you seen how the trailer for that new Will Smith movie, Gemini Man?
Nope.
Well, it's a the Ang Lee directed feature, comes out in October, where it's like a the main thing of it is like, you know, there's Will Smith in modern day who's like, you know, 50 whatever years old with some gray hair on his face and whatever else, and then there's like a younger, like, you know, like fresh Prince from Bel Air, Will Smith, and it looks, dude, I look at it, reminds me of Avatar, dude. It looks completely like non-jarring, looks immersive. It looks like it's young Will Smith interacting with present day Will Smith.
Trailer now, yeah, it's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you're not kidding on the whole facial enhancement stuff, dude. We're getting to a really crazy point.
Oh, or even like Samuel Jackson, in the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah, that too, actually. Yeah, that also that didn't really bug me. I mean, I don't know if I was like super convinced. Like I knew it was I knew it was Samuel Jackson like being made to look younger, so I kind of knew what to look for there. But you know, there's not really any like close-ups of him like running or doing anything physically demanding, essentially.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, yeah, man acts his ass off, so not wrong there. I guess, okay, all right, for real, last topic here, because this is a timely one that we definitely won't be able to touch on next week if we want to here. Did you hear about the Spider-Man drama? I have no one to talk to about this, actually. I don't know if you care about it or not.
Oh, that Sony's not licensing it for the MCU or whatever.
Yeah. Did you hear about this?
I mean, that's all I've heard. I haven't heard if they've like reached a negotiation point or whatever, but
yeah. So so there was a lot of there was some very lucrative. Actually, we'll end on this topic here. Let me just gonna change my topic to clickbait here. Spider-Man exiting the MCU? Question mark? There we go.
And then this is, for reference, this is pretty scary because it feels like they're trying to gear the Spider-Man guy up to be like the replacement for like fucking Iron Man or some shit. So like losing this character is gonna be pretty fucking big if it happens.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So to recap here, initially when y'all saw Spider-Man enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Captain America 3, Captain America Civil War, that was the start of a deal that Sony arranged with Disney/Marvel to, because at this time, as of 1999, when Marvel was going near bankrupt, they sold away all their properties to various movie studios, and Sony won the rights to the bidding war for Spider-Man. So then they won in 99, and they promptly made Spider-Man to release in 2002. Their deal includes, as long as they make a Spider-Man film every X amount of years, they will retain the rights to Spider-Man as far as film production goes. But if they don't make a Spider-Man within, I think it's like 7 years, it might be less, then it defaults back to the parent company that would own Marvel at that time.
Sure.
Right now, with this in mind, what was I gonna say about that here? Actually, the things you should know here is that so they get the right to make the movie production, but they don't have merchandising. So to give you an idea of that, and also the fact that, like, this is Sony's most lucrative pool. Like, the Sony's picture movie film division, this is their biggest thing they have is Spider-Man property at this point. Even the less successful films, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, still made, respectively 700 million plus and 800 million plus worldwide, even though they were both critically flops and both were debatably failures because of their insanely bloated budgets of over $200 million each. They still were considered failures regardless of what they pulled in, but they were still their strongest pulls-ins for Sony Pictures Entertainment. Now, with that in mind, when the 2016 debut of Peter Parker Spider-Man came out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the deal Sony had with Marvel at that time was that, if I recall correctly here, Sony would front the financing for any independent Spider-Man films at the time, including, Spider-Man Far From Home and Spider-Man Homecoming. They would finance those films. Kevin Feige and his production company at Marvel Studios would produce the films for Sony. In exchange, Sony would give Disney, 5% of the box office receipts. Sony kept 95%. In exchange, Marvel got to use Spider-Man. Sorry,
I'll be back 1 second here. You can explain this. I'll be back 1 second.
Okay, you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, keep going. I'll be back 1 second.
In exchange, because they're only getting 5% here, the payoff here was that Marvel would get the rights to use Spider-Man in the MCU. And that was the agreed deal. Pretty lucrative because obviously Kevin Feige knew the value of like what to do with knew the value of what Spider-Man can pull in, because there's the most popular Marvel character literally. So they would do that, right? And from there, now keep in mind here that Tom Holland is currently on a 5-film contract as of when he was signed. I don't know if he's done 5 yet, because I'm trying to think here now. There was Civil War, there was Infinity War, there was Endgame, and there's Spider-Man, Homecoming, and 5 films. So Tom Holland's contract, I believe, is actually up, or it could be, maybe it was only 5 films for Sony. I don't remember actually here. Maybe it was only 5. Maybe it was only 5 Sony pictures. Hide his camera. Sure, I'll do that for you. There you go. Good looking Steve here. So from there, what was I gonna say about that? Sorry, I'm going kind of brain farting right now. It's just like I have to like carry this about my own here. So the issue now is that obviously, before it was considered, relatively a risk to do this Tom Holland interpretation of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But now that now that Avengers Endgame has like made like a fuck ton of money worldwide, and there's pretty much no risk. It's very, very lucrative for everyone involved to maintain what we have here. We are now seeing the collateral shift back to Disney now. So from what I understand, the deal was that with renegotiations, rather than 5% of box office for Disney wants 50. They want half and half, 50%. Because they've proven to be Kevin Feige has been proven to be very bankable and consistent on delivering the bangers and the quality here, and they want to maintain the relationship they have right now, so they can have Peter Parker continue to be a bigger part of the MCU phase 4 and 5 onward. So we'll see where that goes. But the unfortunate news right now is that potentially the deal's falling apart because Sony can't agree to 50-50. They want something way more towards what they had before, with the 5%, 95%, or they think that because they can handle things on their own here. They Venom made 800 million worldwide. Spider-Verse was critically acclaimed and was kicked ass and everything else here under their watch. Maybe they're thinking here that they don't, and also it's their biggest pull, and they don't want to share with the already behemothly rich Disney, who doesn't, quite frankly, need the more of their box office, but just kind of like doing what they can here. And unfortunately, we currently exist a situation right now here where Peter Parker could potentially be lost in MCU here. Because if I was Kevin Feige, for example, you would look at it and be like, well, shit, dude. If I don't have the ability to produce the Spider-Man films in association with you, Sony, then I don't have control. Then I don't have any kind of working control over what you're going to make Peter Parker do from here onward. And I can't have like a cohesive narrative in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when you're out here doing your own flippity fuck thing with Peter Parker. I need Peter Parker to be in space to collab with the Guardians of the Galaxy for Avengers 4, while y'all motherfuckers got him out here, delivering pizza in New York City. So I can't make this writing good whenever y'all doing your own thing here. So due to that risk of just A, difference in what you're doing the story, and B, ultimately your perceived incompetence to make a good Spider-Man film, I would have to write Spider-Man out of the MCU if we can't reach a deal. That's what I assume would happen, unfortunately. The worst case scenario here is, very much that if the deal can't come through and Sony's pulling their ego because they think they can do a better job here, quite frankly, then what would you do? If you were Kevin Feige and you had a multi-layered story of bringing in the Inhumans, bringing in an expanded role for Doctor Strange 2, and blah blah blah, and you're going to introduce X-Men in Phase 5 on here, you kind of need control, or at least you need to be in the know. Again, when you're producing, you at least know what the story is going to be for your Spider-Man graduation, aka Spider-Man 3, coming out I think in 2021. You at least have like you know where the script's going to go, so you can kind of write around that and then include more things to make the narrative continue to be cohesive. And the issue there is when you don't have that, if you're Kevin Feige, I would think you'd be like, well, fuck this, dude. I gotta bail. I gotta bail, dude. So, I mean, we already have this kind of going on right now because the fact that and forgive me, I know you guys probably don't care about cape shit. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just kind of entertaining while Destiny's like AFK right now. But the problem here is that you already have this going on right now with the Hulk. The Hulk is currently owned by Universal. And the way that you get the way that you currently have the Hulk in the MCU right now is this convenient loophole where Hulk can be part of a different film, but they can't do a solo Hulk film. That's why you're seeing Hulk only in the Avengers ensemble films, and you're seeing Hulk in the as a co-pilot essentially in Thor Ragnarok. Every Hulk fan wanted a Planet Hulk film, essentially. one of the coolest plot lines in all of the Hulk comic lore. But they can't contractually make a Planet Hulk film. So they said, fuck it, we're gonna do Planet Hulk. We're gonna make Planet Hulk one of the side things that happens essentially in Thor Ragnarok, and they did, and it worked out great. It took all the weaknesses of Thor and made Thor stronger, and then also gave all the Hulk fanboys the biggest history you can get of a Planet Hulk plot line within Thor Ragnarok, and it worked out great. So yeah, that's what you got right there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm pretty fearful for what's gonna happen here. Now, with that all aside, the next thing would be that there was some premature pitches here to or there was some premature headlines to get some clickbait and views. Apparently, or supposedly, this entire incident is not as bad as people think it is. Apparently, this was an argument over a producer credit. One of the Marvel executives wanted to have a producer credit for some of the Sony films, and Sony was not agreeing with that, or something to that power, something to that degree. So this might actually be a non-problem that's being hyper escalated to like for clickbait and views, but in actuality, it's being resolved in the back room, and it was never an issue in the first place here. Maybe Sony's not as bad as they think they may be, because maybe they are aware this will make them a very, very lucrative pool long term. Essentially you're being drafted for the winning team. Disney's already pulled in something along the lines of 8 billion with a B, 8 billion. That is 8 followed by 9 zeros, $8 billion in US box office, or $8 billion US dollars in box office this year alone. And that's without Frozen 2. That's without Star Wars 9 coming out later this year. So, if you're being drafted for the winning team, again, I'm not here to blow Disney or even give them because obviously corporation consolidation is terrible. I think Disney is way too big to fail right now, and it's a very, very bad thing long term for the competitive viability, sustainability of creative endeavors in the Hollywood market right now. I'm not a fan of it, obviously, but purely in the speculation what's going on here right now, I want to clarify that if you were Sony and if you care about the corporation standings here, that you would say, yeah, okay, I'm going to be on the winning team because you know, Peter Parker is going to be I imagine a very lucrative pool for Phase 4 and Phase 5 of Marvel, and you get like infinite clout to continue to. You get guaranteed momentum and clout with Spider-Man going forward, at the cost of giving Disney half. But you know, even your half of what will be essentially Spider-Man, 3, 4, 5, and 6 from Sony's end is going to be a very, very good pool for you. So you would think you would do that rather than risk, having another blunder like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, or the corporate meddling that led to the result of Spider-Man 3. So, so we'll have to see here. Now with that in mind, I guess I kind of would ask y'all here, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about, do you think my opinion's correct here? Or do you feel that my take here is correct? I guess I should clarify here that the reason why my take here is that Sony should take the deal is because Sony has a very spotty track record for having competence to produce quality films. I'd even go as far here as say, that like even the one thing in their I guess like advantage here that they made, Amazing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, is the problem that sorry, I'm bringing right here. Oh, the problem there is that even though Spider-Verse was a great film, and in my opinion, the best Spider-Man film by a very, very wide margin, the problem is that it came out in December, which was like a kind of like a flop month for it, because it could have probably did way better numbers in a more summer-esque release. I don't know who's the fault for that, if it was originally sketched for December or not, or if it could have been anyone else here, but it's unfortunate that two films I thought were pretty above average, both Bumblebee and Spider-Verse, were both December releases last year, and both in my opinion were their best entries in their respective franchises, and both were one of the lowest grossing films in both things. Michael Bay destruction porn Transformers, turn your brain off, that thing, all those Transformers 1 through 5 made way more money than Bumblebee, and Spider-Verse I think didn't even clear 400 million worldwide, and I think it was like an amazing film. I don't know if that's because of the bias on the perception of animation or not, because people think it's animated for kids or whatever, but like, I don't know, dude. So with that here though, I have a ship post here that apparently is pretty hot. Let's see what we got here. What is this? Marvel and Sony's partnership allowed Sony to keep Spider-Man film rights to Marvel got to incorporate the character in MCU. Marvel, Disney, also received the 5% payout of Spider-Man films, which Sony would fully finance. Disney continues to receive 100% of the merchandising sales. Disney asked if the future Spider-Man films would be 50-50 Ko-Fi stake and possibly to extend to other films of the Spider-Man universe. Sony declined and counter-offered, proposed to keep their current deal if they had in place. Disney declined and withdrew Marvel and Feige from the Spider-Man films. It was an aggressive stance by Disney, who already earned $7.67 billion in their movies this year. In closing, I applaud Sony for standing up to Disney. Oh, and this is supposed to be like, the Spider-Man guy, like reading off the prompt here. So the thing about that is, I mean, you're not wrong here, right? Yeah, there's like, the problem there is clearly, Disney has a fuck ton of money. They could literally maintain the same deal and it'd be fine. I guess, do you think it's bully of Disney to want to opt for 50-50 rather than 5%, 95%? So I don't know here, because it's like I guess it depends on like the confidence level. I just really hope that that things don't go bad here, because the problem too is that if the deal doesn't fall through and Kevin Feige removes Spider-Man from the universe because they have to, it's going to feel very abrupt, non-natural, and kind of hollow. It's going to really, really suck. Or worse yet is that, like, the deal doesn't happen. Sony releases a Spider-Man film, it flops because they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then they're like, oh well, actually we want to give you it back, and they have to clean up their own mess and have to rewrite things hastily to like say, oh Peter Parker was he was frozen in cryo sleep and now he's awake again. Let's go ahead and make him do shit. So it's different though. Disney Disney benefit from having Spider-Man MCU films, and now the arc is dead. They don't need him, so it would just be standalone movies that will benefit him. That's not true. That's not true. If you think that Peter Parker's arc in the MCU is done, I would say it's a very I don't know if I actually agree with that. I mean, there's more that can be done. I mean, did you see Far From Home? Did you see the cliffhanger that it ended on there? So basically we're still gonna get bad Spider-Man films to the end of time. Maybe not. I don't know, dude. It's tough to say right now. Really, I'm really actually more concerned for the fact that like Disney was allowed to buy Fox. So now Disney owns, bro, they own Star Wars, they own Lucasfilm, they own National Geographic, they own all the Fox properties. They own X-Men, or they have the rights to X-Men, they have the MCU, they own Marvel, they own Pixar. Dude, Disney owns so much fucking shit now. ESPN, ABC. It's like the number 2 is so distant of what the number 1. Like it's the gif of like the Mickey Thanos gift is so accurate at this point now, dude. It's fucking crazy. Mickey Mouse Thanos gif. Like let me just like, bro.
Okay, fuck. I'm sorry. I'm here.
Hey, what's up, bro? No, I was just I was going ham on the whole like. You know what I mean? Just, oh my God, dude. Talking about freaking
Wait, so what's the verdict on the Spider-Man thing? Is that gonna be, do you think they're gonna renegotiate that? Is that gonna change, or are they fucked, or what?
So the TLDR here is that Sony and Disney had a deal where Disney got 5% of the Spider-Man film grosses. In exchange, they like that Disney would produce the film and essentially give them a quality film, right? That you get a freebie quality MCU tier Spider-Man film from Disney on behalf of Sony, so he makes all the profit off of it. In exchange, Sony would lend Spider-Man to the MCU as they need to make the films and the narrative like cohesive and everything else. This contract apparently is over now and it's up for renegotiation, and Disney wants to make it a 50-50 where Disney gets half of the independent Spider-Man box office film rather than just 5%, because they've proven that they can do a great job with Spider-Man, and the relationship they have right now was a really good one. However,
what's couldn't Sony theoretically fuck Marvel hardcore out of this?
Yeah, they could,
because Marvel is kind of licensing it from them, and now Sony sees how much money they're making of it. Couldn't they? It seems like a really bad negotiating spot to be in, you know?
Yeah, assuming that Sony Pictures remains incompetent and can't make a quality Spider-Man film, which I don't think they've won that trust, to me, in my opinion, currently. You're right. But the counter perspective is that, Disney made $7.6 billion this year in box office alone. They don't need any more money. And they don't even, and Sony doesn't even have the merchandising rights to Spider-Man. So Marvel or Disney already makes what would probably be the perceived 50% of box office gross off of merchandising anyway. So it kind of leaves Sony high and dry, and it's also Sony's most lucrative property, outgrossing any other property they have for film production.
Well,
so you're right. Hypothetically here, if Sony backs out of the deal and says, no, give us 5% to 95%, or we're backing out, Disney's kind of forced to just take that, neither do it or don't. And if they don't, then I would imagine Kevin Feige and his production crew at Marvel Studios would probably have to just write Spider-Man out of the universe, because what are you gonna do? Are you gonna contort to whatever the fuck Sony does for Spider-Man from here onward? Or are you gonna, because you don't have that kind of power?
It seems like a really shit position to be in. I don't know.
Yeah, because if you don't have the producer credit, you don't have access to the script, and if you don't have the script in advance, you can't produce other scripts in advance to make it all cohesive. So one would think that, I don't know, I guess I would hope that if Sony does back out, then Disney would kind of just whatever, we're already ridiculously rich. We are ridiculously rich. We can just agree to the 5% and keep going. Because
they can't, I'm guessing there's no way Sony would ever just sell the IP.
Fuck no, dude. Fuck no. You couldn't even to answer your question here, let's look at a property that's worth less than Spider-Man, and that has not happened currently. As of right now, if you didn't know, when Marvel was near bankrupt in the late '90s, they sold all their rights to their properties to other studios. Right? Universal won the bid war for Hulk. You recall the 2003 film Hulk by Ang Lee. It was kind of weird, right? Well, Universal still holds the rights to the rights to make a solo Hulk film, if I recall correctly. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. And the problem there is that they have no plans to make a Hulk film, but they're not relinquishing the rights to Hulk back to the parent owner, because it would enable their competitor Disney, who now owns Marvel, to just make a Hulk film at that point. So they're being,
seems like IP law is fucking over consumers and not really working in our best interest, but okay.
Right? Oh, dude, I didn't get me started on that one there. So to spite that, Disney just uses Hulk only in a spin-off films. That's the loophole there. They can use Hulk's likeness for the Avengers films. They can use Hulk's likeness for Thor Ragnarok, but they can't make a solo Hulk film. I think also because they can't use Hulk in any they can't use the word Hulk in any of the film titles or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, so the idea is you could, they could just say, hey, look, Universal, let me buy your rights of retention of Hulk so we can make a Hulk film. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't let their competitor have that kind of power.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already mad right now because they don't have a if you recall here, Universal tried to make that whole dark universe thing happen. You remember this with the Mummy film that happened last year?
I don't know about this, but
okay, all right. Before I gotta tell you the story here. Okay, so the whenever everyone agreed that the the cinematic universe is like it's winning now. It's like the thing to do. Everyone's excited for some kind of multi-movie overarching narrative. The Universal's actually sitting on quite a few things. Apparently, they have like the original Werewolf and the Mummy and some other archaic monsters that they have the rights to. I think including Frankenstein. So the idea they were having was, okay, we're gonna reboot our biggest pool of these things right now, which was the Mummy, because the Mummy was big in the late '90s. So we're gonna reboot the Mummy with Tom Cruise, and then we're gonna have that be the start of the dark universe, where it's gonna be the Mummy, it's gonna be Frankenstein, it's gonna be Wolfman. They're all gonna come together. It's gonna be some kind of monster orgy or whatever. That was the idea.
Okay.
The problem was that the Mummy sucked ass, and it had all the problems of both Batman v Superman and Iron Man 2 combined together, or the film was 1 hour of actual movie and plot, and the other hour and a half was setting up the universe. It was just exposition blow up nonstop, dude. And people agreed that the Mummy sucked ass and that this whole dark universe completely fell apart. So yeah, obviously Universal wants to have that Disney level success, but they can't. They couldn't pull out together here, and of course they will remain petty, as they should, to make their competitor get fucked over and not have any option to have them reacquire the rights to Hulk to make their MCU even better. So going back to your question here, would I'm sorry, I have your camera covered. Let me fix it real quick. And to answer your question here, would Sony ever sell Spider-Man back to Disney? Fuck no. It'd have to be somewhere in the tune of if I had to throw you a number right now, Steven, it's probably somewhere in the realm of $3 billion minimum, easily, to buy back Spider-Man. You'd have to because think about it, right? You get back, because once they have it for life. So you have to Sony would evaluate that as probably you need to give us enough money for us to literally produce a fuckload of films to compensate for the loss of Spider-Man we're gonna never have back ever again. So it would be, it's gonna be a fuck ton of money. Of course, Disney can confront that bill, but Disney just paid $72 billion to acquire Fox. So I imagine that, and then also all the recent Fox movies flopped, including especially X-Men Dark Phoenix did terrible in box office, was also a terrible film. So I imagine Disney right now is probably hurting on wanting to recoup their losses from the Fox acquisition. So they're probably not really eager to spend a fuck ton of money right now.
Sure.
So sorry, I kind of gave you a really, really long nerdy answer. I apologize. I don't know if you care about that much. But yeah, no, that's where we are right now with it. So hypothetically here, if Sony doesn't get a deal worked out with Disney here, then I imagine that Disney would have no choice but to write Peter Parker / Spider-Man out of the MCU. And if they did, I'm not gonna lie, that would kind of suck. my consumerism and fanboy would be like, man, I actually enjoy Peter Parker right now in the MCU. I would hate to see him go, but I also have a huge disdain for just like how absurdly powerful Disney's getting now. That's actually really, really scary.
Sure. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, it's not like Sony's gonna make like good Spider-Man movies or something too, right? So it doesn't really help.
Yeah, it does not help either. Yeah, Sony's been very incompetent. In fact, if you should look into it if you haven't already, if you're wondering how incompetent they were, have you seen the other Spider-Man films? Have you seen Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2?
I didn't watch no, wait. I watched the Amazing Spider-Man 1, and I think I watched all 3 of the Tobey Maguire films.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't see Amazing Spider-Man 2, the one from 2014.
I did not.
Okay, that's the
one with
worst
Andrew
one.
Garfield or whatever.
Yeah, it's the second one from Andrew Garfield. It's terrible. It's so bad. Dude, it's so like any critique you have about Amazing Spider-Man 1, take that times 50, dude. It is LUL bad. It's so bad and incompetent at what it's trying to do in the films, but it wants to make you feel. It's actually like a great, like, I don't know, like stoner movie, or like, every time you have a question about the plot, anytime you ever question mark, take a shot. You'd be dead before an hour in, dude. Just like Peter Parker is a hypocrite. It's a manipulative son of a bitch. The whole thing is just like no one behaves correct or appropriate, and nothing makes any sense. The villain, Peter Parker, Gwen, Osborn, the father, everyone's stupid. No one makes any sense. It's like Pepega the movie. It's dumb as shit. So, and the reason why it's so bad is because there was a lot of corporate meddling into the production of the film. Dude, they were trying to, like, bro, can you imagine if Spider-Man like used the Snapchat app on his phone while web slinging? They were trying to get they were debating.
Is stuff like that actually going on, or?
No, well, they were trying to get they were trying to like use like some really lucrative product placement deals, and they wanted to have, like, I believe Snapchat was almost one of the ones that were going to be like a big time part of the thing. Like, it was going to be like integral to the plot that, like, a snap that he sends to Gwen Stacy actually got misinterpreted, and then it was like, I don't know, it was going to be this thing where like you could follow Spider-Man on Snapchat, and it's going to be this huge like marketing campaign, but it's going to be like interwoven into the plot, and it was going to be a very dated thing, dude, because like, can you imagine like Snapchat being that big of a deal in 2019? It would have been super dated. It was going to be really, really cringe. So yeah, that was a thing that almost happened because of the short sighted of some of these like executive producers on the film. And this is only known because there was actually a Sony database a breach, and some of their confidential private emails were leaked out, and you could see these like dude, like hyper boomers, dude. They were like, do kids like Snapchat? Maybe we should have Peter Parker have a Snapchat in the movie. That was like something, dude. It was terrible, dude. You can look into it. It's fucking terrible, dude.
Damn.
But yeah, if you trust Sony with that, I mean, you're mildly delusional, because then I have to also ask you here for my other counterpoint being that, did you think Venom was a good film?
I mean, I watched it with Nate, and I thought it was okay.
That's where I am with it. It's okay. Yeah. It's a huge mess. I only like the parts where Venom and Tom Hardy as a host were like trying to bond. But that's like, that's like 25 minutes of the film. The rest of it's fucking awful. So I don't know. It's like, I like a part of it. I think the sequel can be inevitably better because they have the boring part done, introduce Venom. Venom finds a host. Now they're buddy. Like from here on, Venom 2 would just be them like bonding and kicking ass and doing shit. So now it'll be a better film. But Venom 1 was a shit show in my opinion. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't think there was enough there for me to hate the movie, but there really wasn't a lot there for me to like. So I just kind of like walked away from it thinking like, like it seemed like if I go to a theater to watch a whatever action movie, I guess it was, oh gosh.
Well, I mean, hey, if you want to watch whatever action, dude, we should, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you would go, I would go. If you go see Hobbs and Shaw, the new Fast and Furious film, I'll go see it. Just so we can shit on it when we come back in the next meeting. You know what I'm talking about?
Is it the new Fast and Furious movie?
Yeah, it's a new Fast and Furious spinoff that has it's a spinoff that stars The Rock and Jason Statham, and it's
Statham or whatever.
Yeah, it's super over the top. Like it's absolutely the biggest like shit show in the fucking world, dude. Like this movie makes Fast and Furious 8 look like a grounded film in reality by comparison. And I thought that film was like Looney Tunes AF, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, apparently I'm saying it wrong. It's not Statham. It's
Statham, isn't it?
Statham. Sorry, I've never, you know, I've only heard it said audibly. I don't know how it's spelled, so of course I'm gonna pronounce it wrong here. So I'm sorry about that.
Mm-hmm. I'll try to see it maybe Friday or Saturday. We'll see. So.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on. Tweet me.
What?
Tweet me when you confirm you're gonna go see it.
Okay.
Yeah. That way I know to go, because you can't be like, because you right now you give me kind of like a mixed vibe. Like I might go, I might not go, and I'm not gonna go see it unless you go see it. So you got to go see it and let me know. That way I go see it too. That way we come back here and we can just talk about like how far things have come here, because you just admitted here. You said that you would, you know, if I go see an action film, I'll turn my brain off. I'll go see it. Well, this is the film that will test you on that, man. Like turn your brain off all the way, dude. So I don't know if I'd want to go ever see it for legitimate reasons, but I would go see it for shit posting, for a quality, to make up for a quality podcast that's been lacking the last 2 weeks.
Sure.
So.
Hold on, give me 1 second. This movie's out in theaters now, right?
Yeah. This came out I think like August 12th or so. Let me see here. When is this? I hope it's still playing in my area. It's out for a couple weeks now. Yeah, I can yeah, I can go see it.
Okay. All right, I'll let you know today if I'm gonna see it on Friday. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Shit's my mom calling me. Well, hey, wrap us up, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about here?
No, I think that's about it for now. We'll keep an eye out for interesting stuff. I might not be here next week because I might be out of town. I think I'm going on a mini trip. So.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we had a. Well, one, I appreciate our talks. I appreciate you know, you coming through and doing this thing for me with me right here with the mental health and the real talk here. I'm on the grind to, you know, do better and everything else. I appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, listen. I'll talk to you anytime you want. It's been fun chatting.
Thank you, baby.
I'll see you if not next week, then the week after. Okay.
All right, for sure. GG's, man. I'll catch you next time. Peace.
All right. I love you, buddy. Have fun. Bye.
Later. I guess so the question here now is like, so now we now know this is hot water, and even though the next